Te amo. Oh. Mi amor, te amo. Oh, baby, mon amor. Hakuna mwingine kumsikia kwa masikio yangu, hakuna mwingine kuona kwa macho yangu. Ni bebe, hani nishushe mabani, nigege, mi kwako tabani. Nikuite jina gani baby, honey, ama boo, mon amour. Nikuite jina gani mahabuba au lazizi, au mon amour. Barua toka Jaramogi na wanauliza kama Kenya kuko sawa, nikawajibu
take it back from top. We take it back from top. Take it back. Anzisha tena. We taking it back from the top. We taking it back from the top. Yeah.
Mi amor, te amo. Oh, baby, mon amor. Hakuna mwingine kumsikia kwa masikio yangu, hakuna mwingine kuona kwa macho yangu. Ni bebe, hani nishushe mabani, nigege, mi kwako tabani. Mi amor, nikuite jina gani baby, honey, ama boo, mon amour. Mi amor, nikuite jina gani mahabuba au lazizi, au mon amour. Barua toka Jaramogi na Kenyatta.
Dancers, may I request all of us to stand for the national anthem so that we can officially start. Karibuni tena Little Theatre Club for the Mombasa Film Policy Public Participation. My name is Alwi Yakut. I am an artist. I am a scriptwriter, a creative director, and an actor. I work at Swahili Port Hub as the lead of creatives, and I also work for Global Opportunity Youth Network as the Creative Pathway Associate. You'll get to meet some of my colleagues and also get to know more about Global Opportunity Youth Network, Swahili Port, Little Theatre, and all the partners that we work with to create this policy that we're talking about. This is a working group convening that we launched back in last year, December 16th. And we've had 4 convenings so far. This is the 5th, where we've now developed the policy that we want to put input, or hear input from you guys. So without much from that, I'd love to welcome my lead, Daisy, so that she can give a brief introduction to the working group and what we are here for. So a round of applause as she comes to the stage.
Thank you so much, Alwi. And thank you so much, and to our performance and to everyone here. I know we started a bit late. We apologize for keeping you here, but we look forward to having very interesting conversations. Like Alwi said, we have worked with platform. We'll share with us shortly where you can go and have the policy. So without taking so much time, I think I want to introduce our panelists. I know they're seated back there. I hope they can hear me. We'll start with Mr. Ghana. Please, let's clap for them as they come. All right. We have Sonny, we have Lillian, we have Hafsa. I don't want to tell you more about them. They will share their stories, their journeys, their impact, and this is to be a very engageful conversation. So it's not limited to the people you see at the front. I will be calling the members of the working group to share. Please, as much as you can, look through the policy, give your voice. You are part of the people that will create the policy. All of you have signed in, and what we're going to do is, as we present this to the county government, we'll also attach every single person here who has shared their feedback. So no closed thought. We are working together on improving the film ecosystem in itself. So karibuni sana. And we have finally joining us Professor Lutsuli, joining the stage. Yes. All right. So I think, awesome. I think we can start. All right. I don't know if you can see us. Bashir, can we have sunlight? Yeah, a bit. Okay. So, checking in, there's one special guest joining us virtually. They'll get to introduce themselves, but just checking, Churchill is with us. I'm assuming he's looking at us from there. Churchill? Okay. So as Churchill is getting ready, I want to pass my mic to the rest of the panel. I will start with my far right, ladies first. There's a mic there. Please introduce yourself, the organization, and what role have you played in developing the policy?
Sorry, my name is Lillian Makanga from IP Garage, which is an entity that works in legal and commercial solutions for creatives. And our role was looking at what aspects in the policy need to be looked at in terms of intellectual property and other aspects and challenges that face creatives. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Sonny Mugambi. I'm a Mombasa-based multimedia consultant. I work in post-production, and I'm also a video consultant.
Thank you, Sunny.
So, hi everyone and good morning. My name is Hafsa Adasa. I'm a writer by profession. I do so many things in film, but I've just put myself in one side, so I'm majoring into writing. And I'm working in Rambo Media Films. It's the production that is having Tihanani. Yeah, Rambo Media. Thank you.
Hello. Good morning. My name is Issa Ghana, Chairman of Coast Filmmakers Association. Our work is to bring all filmmakers together and work as a team. I have brought all the filmmakers in Mombasa so that we could team up with the initiators of this project. And I say, all the filmmakers who came today, karibuni sana.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Victor Ladan Lutsili from Technical University of Mombasa. I'm the Dean School of Humanities and Social Sciences. I also am domiciled in the Department of Communication Studies. I teach TV production, film directing. On the policy, probably we are looking at actually possibilities of what is it, what are the gaps, particularly in terms of skills and the placement of those skills, so that actually we can make creative industries a productive and profitable venture. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor. We have Churchill checking in one more time, if he's able to hear us. I should look there. Yes.
Churchill, if you can hear us.
Okay. I think. Okay. I think we can give Churchill some time. We can give Churchill some time to just log in. I know the team is fixing it technically, so he'll be able to join us. I want to move on to to maybe say a few words, 2 minutes, and then we'll start with the questions. As Bashir is speaking, please take time, note down all the questions that you have and the recommendation. So over to you, Bashir.
Thank you so much. Hello, nanisikia? Asanteni sana, thanks Daisy. My name is Bashir, Bashir Shambi. I'm head of production, one of the many committee members we have at Little Theatre Club. Little Theatre Club is a members club, and it's a club artist. If you are an artist and you're in here, tafadhali usione haya kuja ujisajilishe kama member hapa Little Theatre Club. Ni kitu this club because the main objectives of this club is the promotion of culture and entertainment in reference with drama and the arts. So this is the place for you to be, and tafadhali sana ujiwasilishe hapa membership ya hii team. I like to take this opportunity to welcome all of you, Little Theatre Club. Toka mkono wako kushoto moja kwa moja, gents na ladies, wale ambao wanataka kuona sehemu tofauti, kule tumekwenda kupata chai, kule ni dance studio. We also have on our right and on our left Garden B, and we have a studio also pale. We have two studios actually, lakini zinahitaji facilities. That one I'll explain later if I'm given time. Lakini the most important thing, please, a welcome message from the chairman.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bashir. All right. So as we're going on, please go to our social media platforms. We have the policy uploaded there. It is still draft. That is not final. We want all of you to also be with us as we're going through the policy. And we've kept on hearing the word policy every single time. Mombasa film policy. We are hearing the Theatre Acts policy. What exactly is policy? On the panel, we have an expert in that. I can't explain in details what policy is. In legal terms, what does it mean? What are the implications? We'll start from there. So I'll hand this over to Lillian from IP Garage to let us know what exactly is policy. If I am new to the space, what exactly is policy? What are we developing?
Thank you, Daisy. So the policy, I hope I can be heard clearly. So a policy generally, essentially, is a proposal, right? It's not a law yet. It's not something that's already been debated and the rest. So it's a proposal for looking at what is happening in Mombasa in the film industry. This is what you're proposing in order to grow the industry, first of all. What kind of issues are there and need to be addressed? What are the recommendations? And how can we formalize it for the benefit of all creatives? Now, as Daisy said, it's a draft. What happened is we looked at taking into consideration what is the current situation and taking into consideration the points that have been made by various stakeholders, filmmakers, writers, actors. What issues are they facing? Now, within this current draft, what we highlighted was the concept, why do we need it? Then we went on to the justification, the socio-economic impact of having developed a film space and a film industry within Mombasa. Then we highlighted the challenges and went on to look at the recommendations. Now, all these are aspects that have come from you, some of you who are here, some of who are in the panel, saying we need to grow this industry. Mombasa is a vibrant space. It is a place that attracts a lot of tourists and all that, and there are a lot of creatives. But it's a bit fragmented. We need more cohesive and more cohesion between creatives and everyone in the industry. So that is what this policy is proposing, that we look at the landscape in Mombasa, the film space, and we're saying this is what we are facing. This is what we would like to see going forward. And then now putting that in this proposal, which we now call the policy. Going forward, as it is a draft, taking on more of your ideas and your thoughts, then adding on to the policy, it will become a final document, which will then be proposed to be a film bill, which then can be debated within the county government and adopted and proposed. Of course, that is a much longer process, but what we're doing is starting it off, looking at what do we need to do, what are the challenges, how do we, meet in between. There's a lot of potential. Obviously, people are doing different things, but then we need to come together as the industry and say, this is what we want for the growth of the space. So that essentially is what the policy is about. It's a proposal. It is us saying we need XYZ to happen within Mombasa, and therefore we have this particular draft, which will grow as we get more input from you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lillian. I want to emphasize on it is a proposal. It is still a draft, which means everyone here has a room to influence it one way or another. And I think I'll still push it back to you, Lillian. In terms of the Mombasa film policy, if you're able to go to Swahili Pot Hub page on Instagram, you'll be able to see the link.
GOIN Mombasa.
Sorry, I'm being informed. GOIN Mombasa Instagram page. We have uploaded it there. It's a heavy document, so it would be great for you to also follow as we also share. The policy is highlighting a lot of challenges that one way or another have been mentioned and so forth. So I want to go to Sonny. I'll start with you. You're on my right. You've been in this industry. As you start your journey, you faced a lot of challenges, right? Being an entrepreneur in this space and deciding that I'm actually starting a business in film. Take us through what that looked like from the start, the idea in itself, and even to encourage anyone in the room who wants to venture into film, the ugly and the good side. Yeah.
Well, for starters, there's a lot of sweating. I'm sweating a lot. I don't know. Can you guys hear me? Is it loud enough? One, two. A lot better. Journey in filmmaking is both heartbreaking, but also very rewarding. Going back to my earlier days when I started off in film production, I'm quite young in the industry, I'd say about 7 years compared to most of you sitting in the audience. There's usually, the initial issue is the lack of formal direction in terms of, are you doing it the right way? Are you doing it because it's something you gladly do for fun, or are you doing it because you're getting paid to do it? And I think that's been a realization personally for me, merging the passion, the creative side of it, and the business side of it. It took a while without any form of formal mentorship or direction. I mean, back in the day, we did not have as much resources as they are available today. Like with right now, even if you cannot afford to go to university, you just need to get onto Google and type a simple question as, how do I, and literally information is available at your fingertips. And these are resources that are both useful and would have obviously have made the journey for some of us who started a lot earlier much easier. And when I'm looking at where we are now, and particularly in this process of formulating a plan or formulating um, a legal official document that will set a guideline or a path for people who are looking to get into the same industry, I personally strongly feel sections that talk about encouraging skill sets and formal training will help anyone trying to get in the industry get to the destination a lot faster than those of us who had to, do a lot of trial and errors to get there. Everything has a process, but with technology and with access to information, mentorship, bit of funding, the journey is a lot much simpler than it is at the moment. Um, I have gone through formal training as a multimedia practitioner, but I've learned a lot more being out in the field to apply that formal knowledge into the actual, the actual industry. So I would say at this particular juncture, I feel like Mombasa is at the right moment to formally look at filmmaking as an employment option for a lot of youth, not just a part-time. I was told very earlier on that a career is something that you gladly do for free, but somebody's paying you to do it. And I think a lot of us are stuck on the gladly doing it for free. And even though money shall not be the only incentive for creating content or for making content, I feel like a lot of people are not available on sets or are not available to pursue their passions in filmmaking because almost everyone has a day job. Not everyone, is relying on filmmaking or videography as their bread and butter to feed themselves and their family. So I feel like at this particular moment, having an opportunity to be able to repackage this industry into a formal sense that would encourage people to not only just invest their time but their resources, and also repackage our county in a way that it's attractive to people who want to come and shoot here, and encourage more opportunities for the youth. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sunny. We hear from, how long have you been in the industry? 7 years. Okay. Now, oh, he said only. 7 years only. We want to hear from a young person now joining the film. 7 years when Sunny was joining the space. Has it changed? Has it remained the same? So we are 7 years present. I want to ask Hafsa, how long have you been in the industry? Okay. So Hafsa has been in the space for 1 year. So let's see, as the same challenge Sunny was facing 7 years still here, or has it been better? Have you accessed funding? So Hafsa, walk us through your journey 1 year in. What has been the biggest challenge? How have you been supported? How has it been convincing your guardians, your parents, that this is actually a viable business, that I can do it 8 to 5?
Okay, so what I can say is, before even I joined this industry, I started writing my own things. Nimeandika vitu mingi sana, hata zingine hazisomeki right now. And first thing convincing my parents is that before even I told my parents that I wanted to become a writer, they were like, hey, kuandika tena, unaandika nini? So it wasn't that serious at first, I can say that. But I had that passion. Kaandika sana, but naandika, then nafika time, then nafuta tu nasema, dini maandika nini. But then I came to realize that I have this passion. Now I had to take it serious. I went to Swahili Pot. I remember that was back in 2019. 2018. So when I went to Swahili Port, nikakutana na a lot of different people. So nikapata watu wako na talent mingi sana hapo. So I joined a club there yenye watu walikuwa wanaandika. So I met some few people because there were only 3 who were interested. So those 3 people tukashikana pamoja, then we made a short film that was tulishoot to na simu. That was a mobile competition. We submitted it. Then I think it was 2 weeks kidogo hivi, then all of a sudden tukapata message kwa we have been nominated, and we were like, hey, kwani tulikuwa tumetengeneza nini? Silikuwa tu joke tu. So from there sasa ikawa so serious, so I had to go to Mr. Isagana. So nikampata, he was the member of CFA. So akaniambia because you have this passion, tumeona venye mnajitolea blah blah blah, so you have to go to school. So I was like, kwenda shule nao sawa, because mimi tayari nilikuwa nataka tu kazi tu nifanye nipate pesa. So approaching him ilikuwa very easy sana. So lucky enough kulikuwa kuna intake from Kenya Film School that is in Nairobi. From there kuna interview. Immediately during the interview, lucky enough I was interviewed by the director of the school. So akanambia wewe ndo kamwambie tu mamako akutafutie school fees. Then I was like, school fees tena. So kwenda nje nikaongea na marafiki zangu because I went there with my friends. Tukifika wale wenzangu nikauliza mambo kitu, akanambia no, sisi tumeenda tu interview na tukatoka tu hivyo. So I was like, maybe mimi niko lucky. After 1 week nikapigiwa simu, you're supposed to join Kenya Film School. Nikiangalia school fees, so ilikuwa very challenging. Sitataja hizo challenges zote, but ilikuwa challenge sana kupata hizo pesa kwenda hiyo shule. So paka nampata Mr. Isagana, ni vipi can I get a scholarship maybe to join this school, because I'm very interested. Na walikuwa wanapiga sana because wanachukua every student. But the way funny thing about this school, they just take 2 or 3 students from each county. So I was lucky enough to be part and parcel of those who were chosen. So ilikuwa ngumu sana, nikatafuta school fees sikupata. So I was like almost giving up because nimeandika nimeona niko na ability ya kufanya hii kazi, but nafasi sasa ndo sijapata. So I went back, they called me, wako like intake kwa almost, so wewe paka sasa hujafika, so what are you waiting for? So mimi nikapiga tu simu. I just told them Mr. Make it, because niko na lot yenye siwezi fika huko na hiyo pesa ni mingi. Then after like 2 to 3 days I was called, nikaambiwa you can just join the school. And I was like, how? You just come. So nikapata hiyo nafasi and I joined the school, nikasoma up to it was 2019. Then during that time kukawa na corona nyumbani all those years, so I had to look for job. Nika approach a lot of people and they were like, wewe bado ni amateur. So I was like, before ufike hiyo miaka 10, 10 years experience or 5 years of experience, kwani umepitia nini? So umepitia tu kwa amateur. Then hivyo tu tafuta kazi ilikuwa ngumu pia. I had a lot of challenges kupitia watu tofauti because watu wengi sana wanataka kutumia watu wajifaidishe tu wenyewe. So nikakuja nikarealize, because kulikuwa na msemo mmoja our own director used to tell us, the first thing ukitaka kujoin hii industry na ukitaka ku make it in life, tengeneza jina then pesa itakufuata baadaye. So I was like, tengeneza jina, nitamaliza almost 10 years without money. Natengeneza jina, although I'll get the exposure, but exposure haitanilisha, exposure haitanivisha. So I have to look for many ways. But lucky enough, naweza sema tu that was my time. I got a job. So I started writing and here I am now. Naandika na sahi kazi yangu inaonyeshwa at Maisha Magic Plus every Thursday and Friday. It's called Tehanani at 6:30 and 9:30. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Please clap for Hafsa. That is 1 year of experience. 1 year in the space. All those challenges. Same challenges that Sunny faced 7 years ago. There's one thing you said, Hafsa, that I want to ask the audience. You went to Nairobi for school, right? Does it mean that in Mombasa we don't have institutions that can actually train and enable filmmakers? I'm looking at Mr. Ghana and Professor here. Um, Hafsa went all the way to Nairobi for training, and I'm pretty sure Sunny can say the same. It was outside Mombasa. Your organization, both of your organizations have played a huge role in terms of training and providing employment opportunities and capacity building. So where is the delay? 7 years, 1 year in, still same challenge. Where is the delay? Can start with you, Mr. Mr. Khan has decided. Okay, can start with you.
Okay, I should say we have so many challenges. One being, I think the establishment does not take film seriously. We approached the relevant bodies and suggested that we use the local polytechnics as our first step to bring in filmmakers who are coming to learn film. At least it will be much more easier because they're accessible. The answer was given was that we look into it. A year passed and I went back again. And I said the same thing. And then they told me, write Nairobi. I wrote Nairobi and they asked me, how many filmmakers do you have? Because there's no point of having a class with 2 or 3 filmmakers. I knew we were so many. So I came back to the ground and told my fellow filmmakers, there is a proposal that we can have a college where we can go and learn film. Unfortunately, these people who came were very few. Out of the 500 plus, only 2, 3, 4, like 10 were, eager to learn. So I didn't have a list to go back to them and tell them, after all, I only have 10 people to do this. That was 6 years back. I thank the Kenya Film Commission and the Kenya Film Classification Board of the effort they've put in trying to create this industry go much more further. I'll quote, there was Mrs. Agoro in Kenya Film School. I had approached her and then she said, look here, I'll give you 5 slots. Every time we take an intake, I'll give you 5 slots. I thank God I was given the 5 slots for the last, I think, 2 or 3 years. And out of that, we've managed to produce 8 students who, one of them is Nguka Daudi, who was taken there by CFA. And then we have Suleiman, he's a tutor at Kenya Film School. We have Adasa here. And I think we have Bwire. Where's Bwire? Can you stand, please? Oh, there he is. He's our editor at the moment. And there is Salem and there is Kiora who are in other provinces. I should say, I think it's high time that we have such kind of institution. And the relevant bodies should come out and really help us make this thing. Because on the ground, we have so many eager filmmakers who want to make it. But the problem is, we are doing it through seeing, and most of our films are not even, they're not worth seeing. Because we don't know what you're doing, and we think we know what you're doing, and at the end of the day, we are doing nothing. The few who are there, I will praise them. At least they go to YouTube, and that's our teacher at the moment. And I would ask the authority, please give us a school so that all the students can have time and learn this craft. I think I'll end there for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ghana. I'm still stuck in why 7 years we are still the same. I know CFA represents a fraction of filmmakers in Mombasa. There are other filmmakers that are out there, there are other producers. Why can't we have capacity here? why don't we do the training here? Why don't we have intake the same way you have intakes for people doing engineering? Professor, in terms of the demand of this particular skill, right? You have been working very closely in the production space. Is it that there is a disconnect in terms of we are training, but then there is no demand? Or is it that the demand is there, there is a disconnect in terms of who's doing the training? Over to you,
Thank you,
Professor.
thank you. I hope I'll be able to address that. The first thing someone once told me, in fact, that is before I went back to school. I used to work at Maseno University, and I was so much interested, in drama and acting and all that. And this professor was the head of department, the Department of Creative and Performing Arts at Maseno University. He told me, you know what, Victor? Talent minus knowledge is equals to frustration. Talent minus knowledge equals to frustration. Now, this is how this comes to affect us. One, the issue of drama, not even film, is a very vibrant art in our high schools. And most of the people who get into this field are actually former drama members in schools, in high school and universities and so forth. And when they come out, the first thing is, because they are celebrated actors, talented actors, they forget the aspect of training. So we don't seek for that training. And in many cases, when you get out here, you're going to find such people are within this field who are trying what they can, but sometimes it becomes very difficult to explain what you're doing, particularly if you don't have that knowledge. That's one thing. And it could be out of choice, because when she wanted to train, she ended up in Nairobi. It could be out of choice, or it could be out of lack of training spaces. The next thing, when it comes to the university, like I teach, I'm surprised you went to Nairobi, but I teach scripting, screenwriting, broadcast playwriting. In fact, currently that's a unit that is on offer at the moment. But then again, the universities are ivory towers, because for you to get into that class, you should have scored a minimum of C+. Or you are in the diploma class and you're doing, you are studying actually for mass communication, and you'll get that. So again, that locks out the other people who are talented and they want to get into this. But then even you're going to ask me, where do those ones who you train go to? And then, yes, they come out, they have a degree or a diploma, and that's the end of it. You see, because the kind of approach that is given, sometimes, and this again we blame the education system, it is about passing exams. And many times when the students have scored an A or a B, they are satisfied, they are content, because they want to pass that exam. But application of that is another thing. So the disconnect comes from the nature of the education that we give our students in this country. We produce so many, particularly when it comes to humanities and social sciences. I can't say the same of engineers. I really don't know what goes on there, but we still import cars. You see, we tend to produce theories. We tend to produce people with very good papers, first-class honors, second-class honors. But when you come to practical application of the skills, it's nil. So where is the way forward? Probably we need to claim a big space in the TVET, the TVET introduction of, because TVET is all about practice. It's no longer the syllabus, it's occupational standards. And at the end of it, you see, you want to become a screenwriter, you're going to train specifically in screenwriting, not to be given theories of film, theories of what, and you go into until you even end up being taught HIV/AIDS and such kind of things. You see that? You've come in and you're going to hone that skill. I think that's where we need to go. So the disconnect, I can say, Chair, is it is actually what the public needs, what we need outside here, and what is offered in our training institutions, which are certificate-oriented. And we may not be able to have the capacity to change that. Probably what we need is to work out on strategies of using those spaces with a complete different idea, like the idea we are working on with you, where we can get these people and they can come in and they are not using the normal entry CUSPs or now TVET entries, whatever, grades, but we simply say, let us have workshops, let's have trainings, and the trainings have to actually link to the industry, because I believe that one, my university will be able to support, and because it will be domiciled in my school, I think I have the capacity to be able to influence policy to receive such kind of students who will be taught outside the normal syllabus, and we can still achieve actually what we need, because the spaces is there. If it is cameras are there, the stage is there, studios are there, and editing, facilities are there. And we actually focus on industry centered kind of training. At the moment, we've changed the whole idea of actual our training. In fact, right now our motto is training content creators for the millennium. So I no longer want my students to refer to themselves as journalists, but I want them to see themselves as content creators, because journalism is about content. The newspaper has content. TV is all about content. Come to radio, it's about content. If you don't have content, and then there's nothing. But when we also look at yourself as a journalist, probably it takes a romantic kind of look and you think it's something else. But it's about content. And I believe through that change of mindset, we are going to produce products that will come into the field and create content. I submit.
Thank you, Professor. From the panel, we've had the different challenges in terms of training, in terms of access. There's one area that continues to be the anchor itself, and that is funding. Funding. Everyone says funding. Mr. Ghana, how many years in the industry? Since 1974. 2022. We are still funding. We're still asking for funding. It's a very huge area. It's a very huge challenge. And today we are joined by Churchill. Is that? Churchill, please introduce yourself and tell us more about HIVOS. HIVOS has funded the creative space for the longest time. So he's a person who can talk about money. Where is it? How do you get it? Churchill? I thought Nairobi had the better internet.
Just a minute, Churchill.
We're good? It's the money conversation. It's never easy. think we'll go on. Churchill can type in as we move along. So we've heard about challenges, and one of the
is going to make them money. A project so that when I support you today, I know that you will not come tomorrow asking for money from me again. It has to be a basis. When I'm doing crowdfunding for my movie, when I'm asking my friends to fund my movie, then I need not to come back to them and ask them for more money. That's where it starts. Taking movies and filmmaking as a business. And that's what we advocate in the commission currently. Thank you.
Thank you so much. A lot of questions around funding. Where do I get the money? But commission says you are getting money for your business, not for your passion. So Mr. Cha is saying people like me who are just passionate, we better not even try. No. Okay. I've already been rejected for funding. And I'm 0 years in this space. Alright. Churchill is ready. Still on conversations about funding. Churchill will give us a view now outside Kenya. Hivos East Africa is supporting filmmakers, Tanzania, Uganda creatives, and I want to hand this over to Churchill to introduce yourself and also say the role that Hivos plays in the creative economy.
Okay, Daisy, I'm not sure I had everything to say. The internet connection is not very good today. I'm not at least there's quite a number of people here. And I think that's one of the reasons why there's a bit of delay and lapse in the connection. But as I said, my name is Michael Matthew. I work with Fox as the arts and culture here in South Africa. We are not with the resource of open minds. So I'd like to just lower the process and opportunity to have this discussion because first of all, I'm not understanding how I was making some submissions to the chat function. I don't know if you managed to see it. But one of the things I said that I think is relevant is that Mombasa is a culturally rich place. I think perhaps more than any other region in the country. The history of the place and also the contact that we have with the outside world. And so one of the ways think through how to improve the industry through a policy. And I understand such processes are very long, but I'm glad to see that we started it in a good way. So as an organization that agitates for free and open society, one of the things that we has been supporting the creation of content that tells the lived realities and true situations of people in different parts of the world. And the organization has made substantial investments in the area of art and culture over the years. Since 2007 in East Africa at least. So just over the past 3 years alone, the organization has made investments worth 500,000 euros in different arts and culture ventures in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. Now, coming to what we're discussing here today, I understand that culture is a small function in Kenya, so I think it's also good to mention some of these things. But some of the ways people look at contributing in some of these processes, like I've mentioned in the chat, is through providing funding for filmmakers at different stages of the filmmaking processes. I understand there's usually convention sometimes when organizations like people support creative work, whether do we support work for research or do we support work for actual creation of work. And I'd like to share here now that we do support creation of films, particularly at different stages. Thinking about this engagement you're having today, it's also important to mention that people will be very glad to support further stakeholders. I'm very glad to be our finalists of able to also have their content shared on Maisha Magic and all of these places. So I'm really looking forward to learning more from you. Like I've mentioned in the chat, the funding opportunities from Google are always published on the Google website and also the social media channel. So you can look out there. There will be opportunities now in the future for your different engagement and different field processes to be funded. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, actually. Alwi, there are comments on the chat from Churchill. Maybe you can read them for everyone.
All right.
Is it something he has already mentioned? Then we can move along.
So let me just read. I quote, "My main submission this morning is to laud everyone involved in the process of thinking through how to better and improve the current film and arts in general, and also in Mombasa County and the Coast region." There is one. So Mombasa stroke the coast region is rich in culture and in diverse ways that can be better harnessed for social economic improvement of the lives of the people in this region. And as an organization founded on humanist principles, HIVOS is always glad to work together with ventures that demonstrate local ownership in their design and execution. This process of creation of the Pwani film policy is one of those, and we are glad to be part of the process.
Thank you. And I think for the panelists, we're not able to see that.
Churchill, there with us?
Churchill, if you can copy.
Hello, I can hear you.
I can repeat the question. In terms of investing in businesses, especially in the creative space, the Room Project has supported creatives across East Africa. But then we narrow down to film sector specifically because of the policy. How has it been, or rather, what have been the barriers of investment in the film space? And if you could tell us, especially for the coastal region, has there been film productions that you've supported here, and how has that been?
I'm not sure I got the full question. I don't know. Would it be possible for a member of your team to post it in the chat?
Absolutely.
Daisy?
Yes, that's okay. As
The connection is not that good.
all right. As they're doing that, we'll move on to the next bit. This goes to what Mr. Chow mentioned, that they fund businesses, not passion projects. And I want to hand it to my panelists here. Different years in the space. Have you applied for funding before? Are we saying you're still in the passion project level? Or, I mean, has it been different applying it's not that the funding is not there. It's that there are different barriers to you applying for the funding. And I would love to hear from the people who do give the funds. In terms of, there is a criteria you mentioned. And before I move that, I want to hear from Sunny. Have you applied for funding before? How's it been for you?
Yes, I have applied for funding a few times. Coincidentally, before we started this meeting, I got another regret email from a fund that I applied for, but at least they got back to me and they said they've received a lot of applications. They've called the ones they shortlisted for, and I think that that's the nature of any business. But more importantly, I think this is where the business aspect of this industry comes in. I think most of us who apply for this funding, when Mr. Ghana talks about compliance, I think he's talking about tax compliance. I think most of us don't treat filmmaking as a business. Like, we don't account for the money that we use to transport people to location, the money we use for feeding cast and crew, what you pay the editor, all those agreements. You have your paperwork in order. And I think anyone who's in business and they're in a position where you're asking them for a certain amount of money, I think as any other sane business person, they need to see your formal nature of the approach. Like, are you just asking for 4 million to go, fund a passion project, or do you actually have a plan? How much are you spending in pre-production? How much are you spending on the actual filmmaking aspect of it? So I think it's not so much availability of platforms where people can apply for funding as much as the quality of the applications. And I think one of the proposals in the policy document is the formalization of our training needs to include the business aspect of filmmaking. Like, these young people need to understand how to package themselves and how to present themselves in front of investors who are essentially not creatives per se, but they're people who've got the financial resource that would help them achieve the goal. So yes, I have applied for a couple of funds. Not been successful as of yet. Probably also need training on that. I have applied for DocuBox. The feedback from them was the storyline of the proposal I'd given them wasn't in line with what they were looking for, which is, it's fair enough. Kenya Film Commission has I'm hearing about their funding for young filmmakers today, which I think is a very good initiative. I know about their film development fund, which they started off, I think, in 2020, funded quite a few films. I don't want to dig into Kenya Film Commission like put you on the spot, but I think one of the things that would help this process is probably have a level of transparency where people can understand not just the process of application, but what happens, or what's the I'm trying to find the right word for this. What's the accountability for some of these funds? Because if you look at the applications that were made in 2020, you guys gave out 25,033,000 Kenya shillings, total amount awarded. The list was, I think, 325,000, and the most was 4 million. I think three organizations got 4 million, and weirdly enough, all of them were from, no, two are from Nairobi, one was to most of these other guys who applied. And I do understand there's challenges in filmmaking. Sometimes things don't go according to plan. You suddenly get 1.8 million when you had a zero budget, and what do I do with this? Do I buy Blackmagic cinema cameras, or do I actually set up a production schedule that involves, location scouting, feeding my crew and stuff like that. So I think I'm not. I mean, I'm just assuming these are some of the challenges that some of the filmmakers have had. And now you're on your third year with this funding, and I think you're in partnership with the German government for this. Yeah. So I think it would be very ideal with some of the educative sessions that you're holding to probably also focus on the business aspect of filmmaking as opposed to just the technical and the creative side of it. Sorry, I think I might have gone a bit overboard.
It's all right. They said it's passion. So we've had a lot about the challenges, right? And if you're just joining us, please go to GOIN Instagram. We have the policy there. You'll be able to follow it closely with us. Challenges in terms of funding. We've had challenges in terms of accessing training. We are hearing young people are going to Nairobi for training. We're hearing from the institution that they are actually reshaping how they're doing training. Now they're involving demand and employers. We heard from Professor earlier. My next question would be in terms of now everyone here in the public. We have actors, we have script writers, we have producers. I want to hear from the public, right? Have you applied for funding before? Anyone here? Let's give him the mic. Please raise your hand. Okay. Can start here, then the next person. So the question is, have you applied for funding before? So of course, please do introduce yourself, the role that you play. If you have applied for funding, how has it been for you?
I have applied for funding many times. Thank you very much, Daisy. My name is Floor Komen. I'm from the Netherlands. I have not applied for funding in Kenya, but I can tell you a little bit about how it goes in the Netherlands and Europe. And I must totally agree with what Sonny is saying and what the gentleman from KFC was saying. There is certainly a very strong business aspect and accountability to everything. In Europe, you don't get a euro if you are not very how you're going to spend it, and you're totally blacklisted by all the government institutions or subsidiary institutions if your accountability is not like 100% in order. So that's one thing that I would like to say about that. So there is what we call the creative part and what we call the production part of any production. And we actually have people doing the accounts and yes, of course, there's the commissioning editor, which used to be my role, that brings everything together. So the very strong business aspect, which I grew up in Kenya partially, and I've been involved in Kenyan film. I've done a couple of films here with Dutch money, by the way. Accountability is always a big question. Where does the money go? Both from the creatives as from the government institutions. It's very unclear where the money goes all the time. Now I can say that because yes, I'm a foreigner, so I don't have to be very careful like my friend Sonny there is. On the other hand, yes, business. There is a big business aspect on film. On the other hand, there's passion. You need passion to get your production out, but there's also ideology. Who's going to voice the voice of the poor? Who's going to voice the people that live in Bangla or in Magonge here in Nairobi or here in Mombasa, Kibra in Nairobi? There's no access to funds there, yet the stories of the injustice, the corruption, the lack of any facility is not there. And I know most mainstream outlets are not interested in that story. So yes, sir, there is indeed a aspect. I'm the last one to deny, but I'm also the first one to say there's also a non-business aspect in filmmaking. Film is a platform that voices the voice of people, normal people, especially my specialty, documentary. We need also to create a space in Kenya that is not commercially interested, because you're not going to make money out of a story with somebody digging for dirt in Dandora slum on the dustbin there. There are stories to be told there. There are stories that must be heard there, are not commercially interesting. Yet, a country needs to grow up and hear those stories. So yes, I totally agree with everybody there saying there's a business aspect, accountability completely, accounting yes, the legal interests yes, but there's also ideology, which now film is the best photo album for a country.
Yeah.
If a family doesn't make his photo album also on the dark moments, the funerals, the whoever was sick, then your history is not complete.
Thank you, Mr. Floor. I really want to hear from the young person at the back. Yes. Yes. Context in terms of Mombasa in itself, as a young person applying for funding. Yes. Please introduce yourself. Where you're from? If you applied for funding, how has that process been? Just to bring out how has it been for filmmakers accessing funding. We keep on saying we need funding, but we're hearing from KFC there is funding. We're hearing from the young people we need money. So where is it? Where is that gap? Yes, please.
Kwa majina naitwa Abdalla Salim. Mimi ni filmmaker. Mimi kiukweli madam sija apply hiyo fund, but nina swali kwa yule mjomba pale. Ndugu yangu ame-explain vizuri sana kuhusu how we can get the funding. But my question is this. Amesema kuwa ukiwa unafaa kupata hiyo pesa ambayo unafaa ku-apply.
The gentleman.
Hamjambo.
Please stand. We can't see you.
Hamjambo.
Hello.
Nafahamika kama Yahya Muhammad na mimi ni mwanafilamu, mwanahabari, sawia na mkerekweta wa mambo ya filamu. Na kitu ambacho ningependa kusema, hata jana ninavyozungumza kuna pesa nimeapply kwa MCK, yani Media Council of Kenya. Kwa hivyo tunapozungumzia wanafilamu, tusiangalie watu wanaotengeza sinema tu. Kuna wanahabari ambao wanatengeza makala ama documentaries ambazo zinakuwa aired sehemu nyingi. Mimi nashukuru nimefanya through DW karibu almost 17 ama almost 20 documentaries. Lakini hiyo ni story ya siku nyingine.
You've received funding, sorry?
Kupata pesa niliapply ile ya kwanza, nafikiri it was 2020 ya Kenya Film lakini sikuipata.
I'm looking for people who've received funding.
Sikupata pesa.
Please.
Lakini kuna kitu ambacho ningependa kukizungumzia, naomba usinikate. Ikiwa sisi tunazungumzia kitu cha kwanza, mtu anataka kupewa senti akainvest katika sinema yake, hebu tuangalie. Kuna huyu kijana mdogo anaitwa Abel Mutua. Abel Mutua leo amebadilisha sekta na tasnia nzima ya filamu kwa namna anavyoipeleka, kwa sababu yeye ameshirikiana na wenzake, wanatengeneza sinema kisha wanatengeneza soko ya watu kuangalia ile sinema. Kwa hivyo sisi kama tutaka pesa tumelaumiwa pale kuwa hatuna strategy na hatuna njia ya kuweza kufanya hivyo. Mimi binafsi kampuni yangu nimeisajili, ina account ya benki. Kwa hivyo nilijaribu kufuata yale mambo ambayo alikuwa anasema. Na kila mwaka najaribu kupeleka returns kwa KRA. Kwa hivyo vitu tunafanya. Kwa hivyo pengo liko kubwa mwanzo, watu hawafahamu namna atakavyoweza kupitch. Kwa hivyo kabla uitishe pesa kuna kitu kinaitwa pitching, yani unaandika proposal ambaye inaleta akili ndio yule mwenye senti aweze kupa. Kwa hivyo hapo kuna gap. Kitu cha kwanza watu hawajafahamu namna ya pitching. Kitu cha pili, kuna wakati tulikuwa na mkutano hapa watu wa creatives na county government ya Mombasa. Wakatuambia sisi hatuwezi kupewa pesa kwa sababu hatujatengeneza jina. Walisema watu kama wakina, sitaki kuingilia mtu, lakini walisema baadhi ya kampuni hapa Mombasa wanaweza kupewa pesa kwa sababu wao wametengeneza jina. Kwa hivyo kitu cha kwanza mimi naona kulingana na filamu namna mtu anavyotaka a pitch, number 1 ni shida. Number 2, kuna vitu ningependa kuzungumzia about the film policy kwa sababu si kama nitapata nafasi nyingine. Kitu cha kwanza, mmezungumzia zile gharama ambazo mtu analipa ili afanye documentaries 5,000 na zingine hizi. Kwa hivyo jamaa wa Kenya Film wako hapa na mimi ningependa kuwapiga makucha kwa sababu siku nyingi wanatukwepa. Na mimi nitazungumza Kiswahili kwa sababu wengi wetu nafikiri tunafahamu Kiswahili.
Please make it short.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it short. In
Yes.
the next kama 1 minute nitakuwa nishamaliza. Huyu ni policy maker. Hawezi kuja hapa analia kama sisi ambao tuko hapa chini kwa ground. Lazima aje na solution. Tukiangalia Netflix iliwahi kuja hapa. Hata tuliwahi kuwa na mkutano na baadhi ya watu ambao waliweza kukutana na watu wa Netflix. Kuna kampuni kama Multi Choice na nini. Ni wao wakwende kule wajaribu kutusaidia sisi tupate soko. Kwa sababu hatuwezi kutengeneza sinema na hakuna soko. Kwa hivyo Kenya Film kazeni kama sehemu hiyo. Sehemu nyingine ambayo ni
Okay, we'll
masuala ya 75% content. Ikiwa kama nyinyi mtashughulikia tupate 75% content, hii itatusaidia
tupe watu wengine opportunity tafadhali. I will bring it back to the panel. We will still have public. I will bring it back to the panel, Alwi. I know it's a passion conversation. It goes on and on. If you are joining us on all social media, please write your questions there. We will still do public participation for the next 1 month. We will not stop speaking about film. So we now go to the policy itself. We have heard about the challenges. We've heard about the gaps that are there. We've seen what it means to be in the space 20 years ago, 7 years ago, a year ago. Now let's look at the recommendation, what the policy is recommending, right? Those are the solutions. I know you'd want to talk to the organizations that are dealing directly with funding, but let's bring our heads together to the solutions themselves. We've said our problems. I think I'll start this end from Professor. In terms of the policy itself, gone through it, been part of creating the policy together with the working group, what part of the policy do you believe will impact you or your organization to enable us create more employment opportunities? Prof is going to read to us the policy, so. Which specific policy as recommended as solutions? I know we've focused on the challenges, but there are also solutions in the space.
At the moment, I think looking at this, and we have seen, we are trying to look at the development of culture. And that brings in the issue of the new ministry that has been brought in by the Kenya Kwanza government has youth, sports, and art. And when it comes to art, you're talking about culture. So if we actually want to build on this, then it's very possible that actually, because we need to see, we need to commodify culture. It's not just actually talking about preservation of culture, but we have to commodify it. People come all the way from the Western countries to see the Maasai, and I see even non-Maasais dressing like Maasais. So there is something about it. And Mr. Flo has just talked about the idea of telling the people stories of the people. And part of it is not just actually suffering, but how these people relate to reality. How do they relate with their environment? And that can be a story that we can go to. Mombasa is a rich cultural space. But then going back to, in fact, we talk about funding, and probably we want to nail Kenya Film, Kenya Film. But ladies and gentlemen, last month
the British Council had put up a call for proposals for funding of creative and cultural industries where film actually falls. And it was going up to 180,000 sterling pounds. How much can you do with that money? There is a lot you can do with it, and it was specific to creative and cultural industries. So there is money out there, but do you know how to write a grant application? Probably I have swayed back to that. Do you need to learn how to write to apply for a grant? And then, how do you package yourself? Do you just come up with a film, maybe 10, 20, and you like it yourself, you write it yourself, you shoot it yourself, you watch it yourself, and like it yourself? And then you get out there. Because sometimes actually, we need to understand, and I want to tell you, if you want to get into this, you must be a brand. What is your brand? If I start searching for you on social media, do I get to know what your name is, who you are? Or you are using a pseudonym that will frighten me even to follow you? So we need actually to think about that as the youth. Which culture do you want actually to promote? And then, if we come to this space, the policy, we need to go into, let us look at how we can create stories within this region. And they are rich. The Swahili have a very great actually story. There are stories related to the Indian Ocean. There are stories related to almost everything around here. And not just the Swahili alone. We have also other tribes around here. But there is something about the Swahili that can be packaged and you can sell and go places with it. But then how are you going to exploit the issue of culture? Probably we need also to look into research. Because one of the problems that we have here is that you want to tell a story about a culture which you don't know. So are we also patient enough to go into books and read and find out about this? Can we go back? Because we don't want fiction, fictitious culture. Because if you're going to dig out the stories of people, then you have to go right to the indigenous people. The originals themselves and come out stories which we rarely actually made. So, yes, the policy in terms of culture, that aspect of it, and that's where the film lies. And that's where the current government is looking at creating job opportunities through creative and cultural industries. And that aspect, I think we need actually to follow it and develop it even much more bigger so that and broader so that people can be able to really link up with it and understand if you're going to talk about film, it's about culture. And when you're talking about culture, you're talking about whose culture? Whose culture? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you something. The Asian film has grown because the Asian film is about Indian culture, but it is syncretic, hybridized.
Prof. Layman.
No, I want to explain, it is mixed. Are you getting that? It is mixed. So you are looking at an Indian movie, you are looking at actually the Indian culture, but you can see how it relates with the modern culture or the Western culture, whichever it is. Look at Nigerians. They speak their English the way the Nigerian speaks. They don't try to twang or come up with that kind of thing. So you see, we need to get that, to tell our stories in our own voice and in our own language and in our own way. And we can also inject in a bit of actual encounter with other foreign cultures. But let us not make a foreign culture be the dominant one and ours the less one. If we did that, then I think we will be getting someplace.
Prof, I think we've diverted somewhere there, yes. But when it comes to the issue, when it comes to, we are saying about preserving the culture, sharing the story, there is the gap that we continuously say in the space of training, where research is, right? Yeah. That is where you get research. The policy sets, or rather recommends, us to have film institutionalized, right? So we don't have the conversations of I'm learning a subset of what I need to know from this person. I go training 3 months here. I go training in Nairobi for something like, for example, script. Then I come back here, I learn on the job. Then I go to Nairobi and do this. The policy recommends that. And everything you're saying, even in terms of knowing how to write a grant, are things that can actually be done during training. And the question is now, in terms of policy recommending that from a training institution, right? What do you see that opening up opportunities for more employment? Does institutionalizing it mean that we'll have more people taking a film, having more people learn about film, have even KFC have an entryway to actually support filmmakers on training level, right? Listening to Hafsa going all the way to Nairobi because of scholarship, and then we're hearing there is bursary for that. Is it because there is that gap of it has not been institutionalized in such a way that if I am a young person and I leave school, I can actually go to school, learn, know how to do all these things, then start my own film production or get employed?
Okay, I'll address that. One, when it comes to film production and any other art, stage production, we need first of all to understand it brings together, it's a collaborative act. Now, yes, we need to actually give people skills, but people need to understand you cannot be a jack of all trades. So if we have to offer training, then it has to be skill specific. Are you interested in videography? So you come in and you learn straight videography. Are you interested in directing? Then that. Are you interested in acting? Then that. But if we're going to, because if you're going to institutionalize and come up with a syllabus that covers all these things again, then we are not producing. In fact, that's where we have failed in our institutions, because people are taught everything about everything and learn nothing, end up getting nothing out of it. So I would like you to give me, for example, a group of students who are interested in camera work, and they're going to stay with me for 5 months doing nothing other than camera. Then we have videographers, people who will do the camera. Then I need a group of students, probably another group set of 20, who are interested in scripting alone. So that him being a director, he's going to need a script. You see? And then he's going to need a camera person. Then he's going to need a makeup artist. He's going to need the lighting. So give me another group who are interested in that. So if we are going to go that route, and we need to, yes, it is very, very important that we have to train this, but we must understand, we must break up the field into its various groupings. Because one of the problems that we have in this country is that we have very versatile creators of films and theater who know everything. When I was studying film, I never did anything to do with the stage management and layout. In fact, we moved away to London School of Design, where we met designers who actually worked with me to do the film I was doing, you know, in terms of makeup, lighting, and what have you. There are people who are experts in there. But the problem we have is that we teach a syllabus that takes everything, takes care of everything. And then what happens is that you come out, you want to be everything. You want to edit, you want to shoot, you want to do each and everything. And when you end up with a substandard production, because there is a talented editor who is out there, but you're not ready to share the money. Yes, sometimes we get also funding, but you want to do everything because you have 20,000 shillings or 100,000 shillings and you want to pocket everything. So as we think about this, we also have to change actually our mentality so that we understand there is collaboration with the other artists. She is a script writer. He is a director. The other one is this, we bring them in. So there is that place, and we need, as we think about that training and packaging, we need to think about specific, skill-specific training. Then two, what does the industry need? But then, Are we going to train people to get employment, or are we training entrepreneurs?
I think we can do both.
Well, so we go to the industry, find out what they need. Why should we have 20 photographers or camera people when the industry is looking for editors? Why can't we actually learn editing? So you see, sometimes there is a glut. And sometimes also what we are doing is people go by their passion. But in this thing here, you may not go, if you're in film, pick an area. Because sometimes you're going to find that we produce so many script writers, yet the industry is looking for video, a camera, kind of technical, groups. So we have to go, from here, we need to go to the industry and find out what they need. Then two, we need also to get the people who are specifically interested in a specific area. But out of all this, what will actually bring these people together is to teach them the aspect of entrepreneurship. Because I think that is also what we are lacking. That's why we get the money, but then we don't send returns, which we are being told that, what are you going to do with the money? And let me tell you, running a business is not a very easy thing. You can be a very great film maker and be a very useless film seller. And probably that is also the other thing that we have, because we have to do that. So the business of film must come into the syllabus. And the issue of skills, we identify the relevant skills and train so that we can have specific people who can do this. That has to come in so that we can bring this industry into it where it belongs, where we bring in talent together to produce a film. Yeah. So the solo moves, probably we need to move away from them and come up with a film company in Mombasa or various companies. But to have 1,000 people in Mombasa making film is not productive. When they can come together and bring their talent together to produce one great movie, and it will change the landscape of Mombasa and even our own lives. I submit.
That's Prof's thought around training, around institutionalizing the film sector itself. So if you're following us, that's part of, we're on to recommendation on the policy itself. As we're also rounding up on the panel side, Mr. Ghana, same from an association that supports film. What part of the policy resonates with the association itself in terms of enabling us create more job opportunities in Mombasa?
Thank you very much, Daisy. As I was saying, we need institutions that could give us that knowledge, which we do not have at the moment. The proposal here, number 6, proposal institutions for the Mombasa film industry, which talks about a film academy, film fund, and festival awards. If I talk about Mombasa Film Academy, if we have an institution that is going to be rated with other international institutions, and we go as per what others are doing, I think we'll come up with a very, very good industry. Why I say this, most of our filmmakers, as I said, they learn from YouTube, and a few want to be, good filmmakers, but at the end of the day, they end up making things that cannot be accepted as film. If we'll have such kind of things like festivals where we can watch our films and know exactly how we have to do it, and we have schools that are going to take in our students on a hands-on programs, I think that will make a very big change. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ghana. That is on Film Academy funding and festivals as part of the recommendations for the challenges that have been mentioned. To the youngest filmmaker in the room, the policy itself, having shared earlier your journey, quite challenging. And looking at the policy, what part of the policy do you feel would enable you as a young person to grow from being in a production to starting your own production? I know you are speaking from a space of, I'm just 1 year in, still learning, and you're hearing from filmmakers like Mr. Ghana who've been there for a long time. But maybe for you as a young person, 1 year into the film, what part of the policy do you feel would enable you to grow?
Okay, as for me, I still go with the same for Mr. Isagana, because I think getting proper skills, it's more important, because most of us, we just want to be hired, get money and all that, but not knowing that we can as well make our own money using our own talents, sisi wenyewe. Actually, I'll speak on my side as a writer. I know we've got so many challenges being writers, especially in this film industry. Watu wengi hawajachukulia very serious, but not knowing that writer ndo kila kitu katika hii industry when it comes to film. So according to me, because ndo nimeingia sahi kwenye hii film, I'll just start my own writer's den. And not only starting my own writer's den, but according to the work that I'm doing, I usually break my script. After that, I share it with Yusuf Dalu. I think most of you know him. So then I look for advice. Is it workable? What can I change? What can I do? So all those things, then he corrects me, and anambia maybe chukua character, mfanye hivi. Because you'll see most of the people approaching you like, hey, tumekuona juzi, umeandika kipindi fulani, I want to be a writer. It's not that unataka kuwa mwandishi ni kitu tu direct tu unapata. Because first of all, it's need a lot of patience. Uwezi tu amka tu hivi tu kaanza tu kuandika na tena kazi yako tu kubalike hivyo tu direct. Like I said, most of the people, they don't want to hire amateurs. Most of the time ku approach na kazi yako, they'll say, you are an amateur. Ni kazi gani zenye umeandika? Hazijaonekana kwa TV, maybe hazijaonekana mahali popote. So they'll just tell you, we'll get back to you, and hivyo tu ndo final. So don't give up. Maybe labda ukipata watu kama hao, so continue. Kama ni passion yako, endelea tu, usi give up nayo. I was like, right now, kama venye tulikuwa nataka kusema, I want to start my own writer's den. Specifically, si ati kwa watu wenye wanajua what film is ama on how to write, blah blah blah, but hata kama mtu ameanza ndo scratch anataka kuanza, I can as well help where I can. And I will still urge on Mr. Isagana about the schools for film. It's not only school for film yenye tu tunaenda, like here in Mombasa we have, like the way professor said, that kuna specific writers. So there in Nairobi, the school that I learned, kuna a lot of categories that we learn: cinematography, editing, sound, directing, scripting, all that. But plus, we normally have the major subject and the minor subject. That is, if you're doing directing and scripting, your major it will be acting. Your minor, it will be acting. So you can't be a director or a good scriptwriter without knowing how an actor can do. And we also have the DOPs who are in cinematography. They also have their minor, that is lighting. We also have makeup classes and all that. So the good thing about that school is when you finish, I know it's quite expensive, but when you finish, you'll get a job. That's 100%, because I've graduated this year, by the way, juzi too, after Ramadan. And most of the students, they have been placed in good places. I have my fellow students who are in, some they are in Selina, Salem, Kina, big projects. So it's a very good school. If the policy as well, it unleashes the academy here in Mombasa, it's gonna open a lot of doors for the youth. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Hafsa. Please clap for Hafsa. She's the youngest person in the room. And I think the policy recommends not just an academy, but an academy that also looks at placing young people and encouraging entrepreneurship. To you, Sonny, different levels of experience so far. right? What part of the policy do you believe or do you see affect you as an entrepreneur in the space, someone who hires within the space to either expand or even support more filmmakers to grow and establish? Yeah.
For me, the part that resonates most is on the challenges and gaps, where it talks about limited marketing and promotional initiatives for the industry. When you're creating a visual content, you're creating it for a specific market. You're creating it for the intention to be able to sell it and resell it. Generally, any visual content has the ability to be a revenue earner for a longer period than what we get them to be. A lot of us here have projects that we've painstakingly funded and shot, but they're just sitting on our laptops and our hard drives because we haven't found, we haven't found a place to sell them or a place to take them on. And there's multiple avenues for you to be able to earn a living from content that you've already created. And I think for this particular proposal in the policy, I think there needs to be a very detailed awareness on what the options or possibilities are for people who are creating content. We've got film distributors, most are based in Nairobi. I don't think most of us are aware of who are distributing films in Nairobi. There's about 6 or 7 companies, but the visibility isn't as open or as opaque as most of us would like it to be, in the sense of most of us create a visual content, then you look for the market. Well, essentially, in most setups, you need to identify what is lacking in the market or what the market is calling for and create for that particular market. If you speak to, we had a talk with one of the distributors who came to Lyon's courtesy of Coast Filmmakers Association. And one of the things she pointed out is most people approach distributors after they've shot something. And they go like, I've got this series, I've got 13 episodes, it's like this, it's like that. Can you find me a market? And the distributor is like, there is a market, but they want this kind of content. And you've already spent your resources, and you can't go back and reshoot. You can't go back and there needs to be a process into how we create our content, and specifically what the target is. If you're doing it for a passion, then well and fine. I mean, you can, you have this amazing story, you want to create it, shoot it, put it on YouTube, But if you want to make a living out of this, there has got to be a plan. The other aspect that resonates with me is the cost of compliance. Now, this has been a topic of conversation for quite a few times. As an industry, professional industry, we cannot escape paying fees. We cannot escape paying for licenses. We cannot escape being within the legal framework of the country that we work in. The only issue that I think most of us have is the duplicity of some of these licenses. Like, you'd get a film license, then you'll go out in the field and you're shooting, and you get county officials who want you to have a marketing license, and there's just a lot of licenses that do not make sense. And I think that's a conversation for the national level, not just the Mombasa section, but thankfully Mombasa County has representatives in the audience right now. And I am hoping some of them will take some of these conversations to places that we cannot access, and just look at the possibility of how we can repackage this industry to be a revenue generating enterprise, because it is a revenue generating enterprise. Most of us know about Hollywood. It's the go-to industry standard. It's the first thing people think of when they're producing something. They say Hollywood quality. Very few people know about, or a lot of people know about Georgia now than they did a couple of years back. Georgia is a small American state in southeast of the US. And it was a very small, sleepy town that didn't have much of an industry. And somebody proposed the idea of filmmaking. And we've got quite a few high-ranking episodes that have been shot in Georgia that have put Georgia in the market of filmmaking. It's actually taking a lot of business from Hollywood down into Georgia. A series like The Walking Dead, which has been shot for, I think, 8 seasons now, was shot in Georgia. And there's things, again, Mombasa County representatives, there's things that happen in Georgia that we could tap into. Apart from the technical aspect of filmmaking, there's other revenue generating streams that are connected to the process. I mean, people who come shoot in a location, they'll need a place to sleep. They'll need food to eat, they'll need transportation, and those are multiple avenues of employment. And there's sections in towns like Georgia that people would go to visit just to see the sets. These are people visiting the counties that would not otherwise have a reason to go visit. We've got the ocean, we've got the port, but we need to repackage what we have as a county because we've milked that cow dry. We need to find other avenues for that. Finally, the bit on institutional framework. To reiterate what Mr. Gunn and Professor have said, and our representative of Kenya Film Commission, there is a need to formally train some of the youth, not some of the youth, most of the youth. But most importantly, and I mean this is an open question, you don't have to answer it, I'm just wondering if the lecturers or the tutors in this institution are actually industry professionals, if they're actually people working in the field. Because there is a danger of theoretically filling a lot of information on upstarting filmmakers, then they get out in the field and they're not employable. They know things theoretically, but when they're on set, they have no, and I know some of us, I personally have been there. You know, you've got all this formal information and you get on set and suddenly you know nothing. So I'm hoping that we do have working professionals in these institutions, and if not, maybe we might encourage to have, if it's a cinematographer, somebody who's actually in the field coming to tell them the practical reality of what it is being on set. If it's writing, you know, Madam would be very useful in letting them understand the pressures involved writing for real TV and how things would change. You know, practical, applicable vocational training that would enable people to be empowered and be in a position where they are employable. Lastly, again, I keep going back to Georgia because it's an incredible story. They have what they call camera-ready communities. And essentially, these are groups of professionals in the filmmaking industry where if you have a filmmaker coming from the US or from Russia and they want to shoot something in Mombasa, they don't necessarily have to carry all their gear and all their expensive microphones and stuff and pay a certain tax on it per se. They could come and be introduced or be connected to groups of individuals who are operating or trained to operate at an industry level standard. Now, we had this conversation last time when you were discussing this policy, and I think Lillian asked what we mean by industry level. Is it industry, our local industry, or is it industry, worldwide industry? We are competing on a world stage, and I think industry level needs to be on the world platform. Content groups like Netflix, they have a section on their publications where they tell you if you're submitting content to us, it needs to be ABCD. If you're shooting, it needs to be in this particular format. If you're coloring, if you're editing, it needs to be in this particular style. And it's not just a Netflix setup, it's even when you're applying to multinational festivals, they do have criteria as to how you can introduce yourself to the world. Now, technology is not an issue as it used to be 22 years ago. I'm glad to see Swahili Port in the house, driving the forefront of technology. There is no reason right now why we need to be submitting our films in DVD. None whatsoever. DVD is a 20-year-old technology. It's still applicable, but it diminishes the quality. You've shot something in a much higher resolution and you've compressed it into a format that doesn't give you the interpretation of what the original idea was. So we need to tap into technology, and we need to encourage youth to understand there's multiple avenues in this industry, which is not just a creative aspect, but also there's a technical aspect of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sunny. Lastly, to Lillian. Part of the policy. I know this is a conversation that has gone on for the last 8 months as we also wrap up, looking at developing the policy itself. Listening to everyone here saying the same challenges that we mapped out, that they're pre-existing, they're still there, and recommending certain policies and to cater for the challenges. What part of the policy do you believe, especially dealing with creatives on the legal side? I know we've not even touched on how many implications there is in terms of creating content as a filmmaker, but maybe just highlighting, especially when it comes to the license and the business-wise. What other part of the policy recommendation do you believe would enable the film sector to grow in Mombasa?
So, looking at the entire policy, I know policy and law is not a subject that, ignites immediate excitement and all that. However, when you look at what this draft is, as we said at the beginning, it's a draft proposal. It is not the final document, it's not the law, it's not the final thing. However, on my part, now wearing the legal hat, is I'm looking at it as putting your foot in the door to say that, look, there's all these things happening in Mombasa, and as filmmakers, we would like a legal environment that supports our work. Now, hearing from everyone, the training aspect, the knowledge aspect, when as Professor said, as even the creatives themselves have said, and access to funding, it brings out two issues. One is, as a filmmaker, I have a passion. However, can I actually make it into a business where it's what feeds me, it's what takes care of me? And on the other hand, there's the licenses, there's the legal aspects, intellectual property rights. Am I aware of, do I even have any rights to this particular thing I have created? All those aspects. Can I have a contract with my co-founder or the person I'm creating this thing with? All these are things that need to be taken into consideration. However, what has clearly come out a lot is the knowledge and the training aspect. So I would say in the recommendation where we have the skill set building, the capacity building, where we have an academy and all that, will be very, very useful in at least growing the industry. Now, if you'll allow me, Daisy, to now remove the legal hat briefly and just address some of the things that have come up. Now, when Mr. Ghana was speaking, he said he got into this industry in 1974. How many were here in 1974? Okay, so now if that is 48 years ago, right? 48 years ago, we were a young independent country. However, some of the things Mr. Ghana is saying are things that we're still facing now, 48 years later. So then the question becomes, are we growing as a country 48 years later, or is it just the film aspect that is not growing? Now, in 1979, if I may just go back into the history a bit, in that time, and I'm tying this into something to do with the fragmented nature of the film industry, is in the fashion industry in the 70s was doing quite well in Kenya. The textile industry coupled with the fashion industry, they were doing quite well. However, there was some, government interventions here and there which led to more imports and everything. But what now led to the, near total collapse of the textile and the fashion industry in Kenya is because they didn't have, an association. They weren't coming together as an association to negotiate. When you come together to negotiate, it's much easier for you to actually get what you need. But that was lacking. Now, we come back to film. We have the Coast Film Association. I don't know how many people are members of the association. Have people been consistently members? Because once you come together as a group, you're able to say, these are our challenges, and you can even negotiate with the county government and all that. Still in the 1970s, the Nigerian government at the time, of course, there was a bit of, back and forth with war and everything. There was an indigenization decree, right? And this indigenization decree said that we want more local production of our own, plays and all that, which led to the opening up of a lot of the theaters. Who hasn't watched a Nollywood film here? No one. Now, if you go again, now coming closer to East Africa region, in the Congo, Who here has never heard of a Lingala song? You've never heard a Lingala song ever, right? We all have heard a Lingala song. How many here have been to the Congo? Okay, now, what does that tell you? Now, if you go back to also what happened in the Congo is that, for all his faults, which were many, Mobutu Seko also issued, a decree that I want more of our music playing in our stations. We want to listen to more of our music, which led to more music being played, more production of music videos and all that. And now we have Lingala, which, a Lingala song can start, you can go to Mtwapa and come back, it's still the same song playing. You can start cooking your pilau, it's still the same song playing. It's long, but it has a certain, quality about it, right? Now, if I may leave Africa for a bit, I know I sound like I'm going around, but there's a point coming here, right? In South Korea, when we were at independence, we always hear Kenya was the same level as Asian countries in the 70s, late 60s, but look at where we are now versus South Korea, Malaysia, and all that. Now, same thing. Right now, there's now the Korean movie, industry has blown up. They're even winning Academy Awards. We've watched some of them. I mean, some of their films are they're so nice and comforting. You just want to watch, whatever love story is happening. Now, the government also implemented certain things to say that we want to grow this industry. In 1994, in 1998, they did the same thing. They said, we want to grow this industry because they realized if we have a strong creative industry, it's, as he said, it leads to, it has a ripple effect. You have people who feed the cast and crew, you have transportation, increases tourism, all those things, right? So when you're looking at why we need this particular document, why are we even sitting here spending all this time talking about a policy? It is because we're looking at, for us as filmmakers, yes, we want to create film, but in what environment are we creating our films? We're creating our films in Mombasa. Okay, what does that mean? We need to be able to create film in a place that is level playing field, and how does this happen? By having policies and laws that support each and every one of us to do that. So at the end of it, what I would like to point out is maybe we should remove the word film and think, for all these challenges that we're saying, what are we doing? We are creating a story. Film is a story. At the end of the day, what we're doing is storytelling. Everyone here, if you sit with your friend, you have a story you can tell. If you've been on Twitter this past week, there's been enough things that could come out as a story, right? I mean, there's so much happening, even between all of us here, we have stories that we could tell. So let's not look at, I need to look at a film as this big budget and everything. A short film can be 1 minute, as you said, 1 minute to 30 minutes. What story can you tell in 5 minutes? What story can you tell in 3 minutes? What do I need to tell this story? I have a phone, right? I have YouTube, I have Instagram, I have Facebook, I have Twitter. I can write on Twitter, I can show reels on Instagram, I can do X, Y, Z. So I think what is also necessary is that as we're looking at this particular policy, and I would also like to point out something, in the policy on page 9, where we talked about how films have shaped consumer choices, right? Now, there are certain films that are highlighted there which led to sales of certain products. There's Wayfair glasses, the Ray-Bans, right? One of the things I'd like to point out is the film, in the 1993 film, The Farm, there was Red Stripe beer, Jamaican beer, right? Whose sales, actually, because it was just prominently displayed, it increased sales by 50% in the US. Just that beer, prominently placed. Now, if you hear a lot about what people say about Kenyan cuisine, we don't really have a food culture, our food is bland. Sometimes you are told our food is the white food of, in Africa, because we don't do a lot of seasoning, we don't do all those things. But in Mombasa, it's a different story. In Mombasa, you get, you don't get mashakura, right? You get actual tasty things. Now, what kind of storytelling can come out with regard to food? What can you say about bajia, right? If you ask someone from Nairobi, their association of bajia is potatoes, but you come here, it's a different type of thing. What kind of story can you tell? Now, you mentioned, I'm sorry, I didn't get your name, from Netherlands. Flo, yeah, you're a documentary, filmmaker. I would like to highlight, there's a documentary called Chef's Table. I don't know if anyone has ever watched Chef's Table. the storytelling about those chefs, it's just about chefs. Like it's not, no one is making you a recipe, no one is telling you buy this food. They're just showcasing chefs. You know, my journey, how I became a chef, you know, what happened, all of that. That is a documentary. It's not a movie, it's not, you know, there's no drama and all that. But there's drama in people's lives. All our lives are not linear. Our lives are like this, you know. So because of that, it means there's so much story that we can tell. So I think at the end of the day, the policy is, you know, is here, it's a draft. In other countries, as I said, in Nigeria, in South Korea, in Congo, the initiative came from the top down, essentially in some ways. But here you're being given an opportunity from the ground up of you contributing to how the law will be shaped with regard to film, as a filmmaker, as a creative, whatever, wherever you are in the entire value chain, right? So I would just like to say, I think, as the professor said, there are very many silos. People are operating, I'm a videographer, I'm an editor, I'm a writer, I'm a whoever, but we are not linking these things. There should be university industry linkage where we are saying, what is the need, the needs assessment, and say, this is the need. Okay, can we now address that as filmmakers? Yeah. So I would say from a legal aspect, I'm not a filmmaker, I've not made any film, but I do enjoy them, is we can create a document, but then, as they say, kwa ground vitu ni different. So, so you have this document. However, for you, you are the ones on the ground. You're the ones who can say, this document does not make sense, or it makes sense here, and whatever. Then we come back, put some, you know, legalese and all that needs to be put, and then now make it a document that, you know, can proceed forward into a law. You said it's a proposal, which means it's a draft, which means it can need all your input. So I would say it needs a very holistic approach. That's why I can't answer your question and say this is the only one aspect. Yes. But listening to everyone, I think there needs to be now a conversation about this is the value chain, these are the issues, this is what is happening in Mombasa, these are the opportunities, and then now, you know, I mean, this is a draft, we tried to now bring it together, but I believe there's a lot more to be added. Yes. But I would urge a more holistic, open approach to everything. Yeah. And remember, it's a story you're telling. It's a story. So what kind of story can we tell? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lillian. Traveled around the world, sharing experience. I think we'll come to an end. I know. Well, our conversations never end, and I want to insist. This is the first public participation. We are going to have every single week of this. I'm not closing it out to the public. I want to end the panelist here, right? We still have Q&As for the public. Please be a bit patient. Our challenges have been listed since 1970. We will not finish, I'm pretty sure. So I want to thank our panelists for this. Please remain seated here. Just also to the public, please do go to the form, go to the social media, please look through the policy. Remember, we are all writing this policy, this proposal. We are all giving feedback. It is the first time that it is actually coming from the industry, recommending to the government. So before I hand over to Q&A, to Alwi to support, I would like us to introduce someone who supported the space for the longest time when it comes to the creative sector, in terms of space, in terms of mentorship, in terms of guidance. And I know he's here with a big team, so I'll hand it over to Mahmoud to also introduce himself and the team and the continuous support in the sector. Please do clap for Mahmoud as he comes through.
Yeah, thank you to the panelists. I think as we were sitting there, we've learned a lot, and also had a few discussions even with Elizabeth. It's interesting, you mentioned Korea, and we were discussing about Korea. So I'll take a very short time just to introduce the guests here, because the experts have spoken. What I can commit is, once we have the policy, which is still a living document, I've had a couple of calls for people who say they still need to ventilate and give their feedback. I think that time is there. We will do it. And then a commitment that I'm giving, we will present this document to the county government here, and they will also take it through their process of public participation so that we take it to the assembly and we ensure that it is already in law. And there are a couple of things that the current governor, His Excellency Abdul Samad Sharif Nasir, committed. In fact, we met here about a week or two before elections. There are commitments there are things that we promised, and I guarantee those things we're actually doing them right away, including scrapping several levies. Like when you are shooting movies, when you are taking photos, you are asked by the county askaris to pay, I don't know, 1,000, 3,000. We're actually scrapping them in the next financial, Jamie, what is it called? The document of the county, yeah? The next financial bill. So whatever commitment we made, because for us it was not politics, anything that we discussed here, we're actually implementing it. The limitation is the duration it takes to actually convert it into a document that has been passed in the county assembly. But if it was not for that, we could have just even issued an executive order and said from tomorrow, don't pay this and that, because it's the only way to encourage the creatives. So without taking much of your time, because I know there are other scheduled, like 3 other meetings, I want to take this opportunity to introduce Elizabeth Chang. She's the one, she's from Conrad Hilton Foundation. They are supporting the different initiatives that we have in Mombasa, and they came to have an interaction. So Elizabeth, karibu, so that you can introduce your team. Yeah, please come.
Hi, everybody. Asante. As Mahmoud has said, I'm from the Conrad Hilton Foundation, and this has been a really fascinating panel to listen to because I don't know if you know, but the Conrad Hilton Foundation is based in Los Angeles, which some people maybe know because it has a lot of movie stars and Hollywood and lots of films. So it's fascinating to see the development of another industry and a vibrant, beautiful industry here in Kenya, especially here in Mombasa. I won't talk too long because you all are probably waiting for lunch and other things, but I want to introduce our team. But before that, we're really excited to be supporting this initiative of Healy Pot Hub Foundation and the Global Opportunity Youth Network. One of the things I love about the film industry and telling stories is everyone has a unique story, a unique viewpoint, and a unique passion. And the film industry and visual media are able to tap into our emotions and our stories and our lives and make us empathize and make us see other people, right? And live other lives. It's a way to transport ourselves into different worlds and different lives. And so we were incredibly excited to support this work because it showcases to other people the lives and passions, especially of Mombasa's young people. So with that, I want to say thank you to Mahmoud and the Swahili Pot team, to Alice and Kim and Gachobi and Nyambura of the GDI team, and then a special introduction to my team. So we have Jennifer, who works with me on the Opportunity Youth Initiative at the foundation, and Jeffrey Forrest, who is the director of the Older Youth Initiative, where the Opportunity Youth Initiative sits. And with that, I will do. Oh. Okay. Okay. If I have to come up here and talk, I'm going to make Alice come up here and talk as well. So this is Alice Gugula from GDI. You could go up the stairs so you don't have to do this.
Thank you so much. I want to thank everyone in the audience for being here, because public participation should really be public participation. And so please stay, please participate in the Q&A, and not just Q&A, but make recommendations as to something that you think will really work for you as the creative people of Mombasa. So I'm so happy to see such a crowded, big room here with us today. And I want to take a moment to thank Daisy as leading this work. As you say, it's going to be ongoing. So please keep your energy up. I do think we have a unique moment in time right now where we have support, we have a focus on Mombasa, we have a very receptive government that is going to be listening to what you have to say. We're trying everything we can to bring more funding to make your vision, to make your efforts and dreams come alive here. I'm so inspired by the creativity that we see here every single day. So I want to thank you for inspiring all of us, and we're hoping that this can really translate into jobs and employment in the field in which all of you are very passionate about. So thank you again for your time, your effort, and the continued support in the coming months, not just on the film policy, but so many of the other initiatives that we have in process to be able to have jobs and employment within the creative industry. So thank you all so much, and looking forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mahmoud and Alice and the team. I think we've come to an end to the panel discussion. We now move to the second phase of the discussion, which is now the public Q&A. I will start with the gentleman that I interrupted earlier. Alwi, I hand over this to you now. We open it up to the public. So let us, as much as you're sharing your question, please make recommendation to the policy as much as you can. So let's start with the gentleman I interrupted earlier on the side. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Nitazungumza lugha ya Kiswahili, mtanisamee. Kizungu si mdomo yangu.
It's all right.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to talk about okay. Mmeniambukiza. Okay. Nilikuwa nazungumzia kuhusu 75 local content before nika interruptiwa, but I really thank you for the opportunity. Ningependa tu kuomba kama hii sheria ingepita, kwa sababu tukiangalia Madam the legal from IP, nimefurahi sana venye umezungumzia hilo swala, kwa sababu tukiangalia katika nchi nyingi ambazo zimedevelop filamu zimetengenezwa kwa sababu kuna soko maalum ambayo inashughulikia hii filamu. Alafu kitu kingine nilikuwa nakizungumzia kuhusu namna ya sisi kutengeneza soko ambayo itasaidia sinema yetu. Ukiuliza mama mboga ama mtu yoyote kule nje anapenda sinema aina gani, kuna vitu fulani sisi tukitengeneza vitasaidia. Na Mr. Ghana kuna kitu ambacho alikuwa akipenda kukizungumzia, kuwa lazima tutengeneze vitu ambavyo vitatusaidia sisi kutengeneza soko. Tunazungumzia Netflix, Maisha Magic na nini, lakini kama sisi hatutatengeneza culture ama mila ya kuangalia sinema, hakuna venye sinema itaenda. Kwa sababu kama sisi hatutajipenda wenyewe, itakuwa ngumu kwa watu wa nje kujipenda. Kwa hivyo wito wangu ni kwa sisi ambao tunajiita watengezaji filamu wa hapa, kitu cha kwanza tutengeneze sinema ambazo mama mboga, mtu wa kawaida ali ofisini anaweza kuiangalia. Kitu cha pili, tuko na mahall na tuko na sehemu kubwa kama hizi theater, tuzitumie. Kwa sababu point nilikuwa nazungumzia, Abel Mtua sahi anazunguka Kenya nzima, ametengeneza sinema, though ni story ya kigeto ya Kinairobi, lakini sisi tunaweza tengeneza yetu ya Kimombasa. Tukaanza hapa Mombasa, tukaenda Kilifi, Lamu na maeneo mengine, lakini story ambaye mtu akiangalia anaona huyu ni kama ule fundi wa rangi ambaye yuko karibu nyumbani. Kwa hivyo tukijaribu kutengeneza such things itatusaidia. Kwa hivyo local content na haya maswala please iweze kutengenezwa. Kitu kingine pia nilikuwa nazungumzia ni kuhusu county government. County government ni muhimu sana katika hii sekta. Kwa sababu ndugu yetu pale msomi amezungumzia juu ya Georgia imetengeneza sinema yake. Tukiangalia mtu kama Tyler Perry ama Oprah Winfrey, sorry kwa kuenda kule nje lakini tutaileta hapa. Wao wameweza kudevelop sinema kwa kupitia wao wenyewe. Kwa hivyo tunahitaji wale washikadau ambao wana senti waweze kusaidia sisi ambao tuko huku chini. Tusiangalie kwanza kuuza ikiwa sisi hatujaweza kutengeneza ile njia mwafaka ya kuweza kusaidia hao ambao wanatengeneza sinema waweze kutengeneza ile product, kwa sababu huwezi kuuza kitu ambacho hatuna. Na tumeambiwa pia kabla ya kupitch vitu kwenda nje tuangalie sisi wenyewe uwezo wetu hapa. Kuna point moja tu nilikuwa nimebakisha hapa ambaye ni support. Kusupport each other ni muhimu sana, kwa sababu sisi tunaweza jiita wana filamu, na pindi tunapoitwa mikutano, pindi tunapohamasishwa labda kuna kitu ambacho kitatuhusu sisi, wanaokuja ni wachache sana. Ukizungumzia hii coast association ya Mombasa, wangapi ni members hapa? Tuongee ukweli. Wangapi tumelipa ile senti ambayo inahitajika kwa hapo? Kwa hivyo mimi ningeomba tu sisi ambao tunajiita locals tuungane na tuwe wenye kusema na kutenda. Sio tunafanya mikutano lakini Waarabu wanasema thuma madha baada dhalik, yani tunafanya nini baada ya hapo? Inakuwa ni kuongea kwingi lakini hakuna masuala ya kuweza kuimplement. Asante sana.
Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum. Jina langu naitwa Jamil Salim na ni mwandishi. Kitabu changu ni Hekaya za Hekima. Nafikiri KICD wamekiapprove. Ni kitabu cha animation na hapa naona kuzungumzwa kuhusu film lakini haikutajwa mambo ya animation. Sisi tuko hapa Mombasa, tuna mambo mengi. Naona profesa ameeleza kwamba watu wende kama Old Town ama kwa Waswahili waketi nao ili wajue zile culture zao. Sisi tuko hapa ndio hiyo culture wenyewe kabla hata kwenda kusoma. Kwa hivyo tuna mambo mengi ambayo sisi tunataka kuyatoa lakini hakuna nafasi ya kupata ile chance ya kueleza. Ukiangalia kwa DSTV wamechukua Watanzania wingi. Sijui kuna nini magic ile Kiswahili filamu zinakuwa translated yani kwa Kiswahili. Na hapa sisi tuweza kwenda na Tanzania sawa sawa. Lakini kwa kuwa hatuchukui watu wa huku Mombasa, si rahisi kwenda nao sambamba watu wa Tanzania. Kwa hivyo sisi tuko watu kama wale ambao filamu tuweza zifanya za kizungu zikawa za Kiswahili. Kama Juma Mrisho yuko hapa, Lola Nikalu yuko hapa, wana studio ambao hata haina nguvu. Ukenda wao ndio wafaa kuwa pushed. Yani waweze kuwa wastawi kwa haya mambo kama ya kukuza Kiswahili pia. Kwa sababu kama filamu ya Apocalyptus, Mel Gibson ameifanya kwa lugha ya wale watu. Na The Passion of Christ imefanywa vile vile Kiaramaic. As long kuna subtitle chini, watu wanaelewa. Kwa hivyo tukija huku, mimi nimezunguka sana kutafuta animation studio, kutafuta group ya watu, kuwa tuko team ya animation studio. Sio mambo ya fans. Kila tukisema fans inakuwa ni uzito. Ni vizuri tutafute grupu, tuwe tuko kama team moja, tuweza kufanya haya mambo, itakuwa rahisi. Katika kueleza kuna mambo mingi kama ya maadili. Kama kitabu changu hichi Hekaya za Hekima ni kitabu kidogo lakini hadithi kama 40. Unaona? Na hadithi hizo 40 mtoto akiwa atasoma hadithi moja tu itampa faida. Mfano kama tuwasema kuna mzee alikuwa yuko katika hali mbaya kuondoka ulimwenguni. na akaona watoto washaanza kuchezea mali, akawaita akawaeleza, akaambia mtu lazima awe na mambo matatu, na huyapati mambo matatu mpaka uwe na mambo manne. Haya mali ni lazima uyakuze, na mali lazima uyatole sadaka ili yaweze kukua. Yani pointi ni 4 za kupata mambo matatu, na ni page moja tu ambayo ikifanywa kianimation, hiyo page moja itakuwa yamfanya mtu anatanabahi kwamba asipoteze yale mali, kuliko tukiangalia mafundisho mingi ambayo yanafundishwa katika, tuseme kuna cartoon za Kiswahili katika YouTube, na jamaa wana promote, lakini kuna na mambo mengine ya kitoto ama mambo ambayo sio sawa, na unaweza kufanya kwa urahisi Tanzania kuliko hapa. Sasa mimi nishajaribu, hakuna studio hata moja ya animation Mombasa nzima hapa. Studio zote ziko Nairobi. Sasa why kusiwe na timu, tukawa tuna timu moja hapa, angalau studio moja ya animation. Na hapa nasikia kuanzia niketi hakuna mtu anataja animation film kabisa, na ni part of it. Asanteni.
Asante sana. I think that falls on asset and infrastructure.
Alui kidogo. Huyu bwana mdogo amezungumza maneno mengine mazuri sana. Sijui nitaanzia wapi, maana inasikitisha. Tulikuwa na session ya animation, imesponsiwa na grupu karibu 4, wakapeana pesa kwa kila student awe atalipiwa 85,000. Senti zikatolewa kwa wanafunzi nafikiri 30 kama siku nini. And you know what happened? Wale wanafunzi walikuja the first day walipokula, the second day hawakuja, the third day wakabakia 4. Nafikiri kama nasema urongo yuko mmoja hapa aliyebakia mpaka mwisho. It was very sad. So animation ipo, na kutotajwa ni kwamba sisi hatujitumi. Tushalipiwa pesa, tumepewa na kula, kusoma hamtaki, mwatakani? Nishakuisha.
Alwi, next person. Please, sema, wait, to the mwenye aliongea before, recommendation to the policy. Any recommendation to the policy? Unaweza andika chini.
Hello?
Animation studio.
Ilikuwa mimi vile nilivyozungumza.
Confirming, animation studio, sorry?
Nimesema kuhusu animation studio.
Okay.
Ikiwa kutakuwa na watu, ni tofauti tulivyoeleza kama mzee alivyoeleza, watu wanakuzwa. Sijui watu wanaingia mitini, wengine walikuwa shapa 85,000. Mimi naeleza kwamba mimi sasa ni writer, niko na script nyingi sana. Ushaona? Sasa mimi natafuta mtu ni producer, natafuta mtu ni artist, hata kama tutamtoa Nairobi, yule mtu anakuja tuwe na group. Ikiwa tutaangalia artist ya jaketi, apawe siku moja akimbie, tutafute sijui nani, haiwezekani hiyo.
That's okay.
Njia rahisi, mimi wa kwanza niko na script, naweza kudirect. Mimi ni mtu wa Old Town. Kuna kisa mfano.
Sorry, it's okay. I've confirmed what you said. Umesema film studio. I want to give other people also time. Washare, tafadhali. Tupe the next person, Mike. Aya, asante.
Okay, I'll speak in English. My name's Farid. I'm from Likoni. And I want to say something. There are 4 things in Kenya which are ailing our country. First thing, tribalism, ukabila. Another thing, ujuaji, big-headed. Another thing, corruption. And I was sitting here and I saw some 2 gentlemen here. These guys are superstars. Ebu amkeni. Amkeni. Amka bro, amka. But you know, the guy from Kenya Film is a friend of mine, even though we don't know each other. But he said something that he has 2 cars. which is fine. Sawa? But I'll ask you a question. Sir, do you have a car? Well, do you have a car?
Let's. Oh, sorry.
It doesn't have a car.
Okay.
So the main issue here is the artist will always walk out with nothing. But the guys who are doing, I don't want to say that they are doing nothing. I respect everyone, okay? But the guys who are sitting in the office are growing fatter, while the guys who are in the field are getting frustrated. Is it true or not true? Another thing, I want to talk to the sponsors, the guys who are coming outside from our country helping us. You have to know one thing. Any African is a poor man. Any African he or she is so hungry. So when you give up the money, please follow out. It will be a shame you giving out money.
Bwana mdogo, tuna machungu sote.
Acha malize, ngoja malize.
Kidogo baba. Ndiyo, ngojeni basi. Kitu nachosema mimi, ikiwa tutazungumza masaa 10, tutatoka hapa saa...
I was only talking of 2 points. I don't talk too much. I'm from the ghetto. I don't talk too much. I've seen a lot. Sir, I don't talk too much. It will be a shame when you are a sponsor, you dishing out money and you don't do follow-up. So I want to say shame on you to the sponsors, and God will punish you. If you give out money, follow out the money.
Let's not be disrespectful, tafadhali. I think if we're talking about policy, there is a reason why tuko hapa. We have challenges. We all have challenges. Hata mimi nataka kuendesha gari. Everyone wants that. But can we narrow it down to specifically the policy? Ni nini una recommend? Hatuwezi recommend watu wanunuliwe gari. But we can recommend something else. Let's be respectful, tafadhali. I can't see who has the mic, but yeah, next.
Can I go ahead? Okay, my name is Tom, and I'm a film lover. I think what you've just come up with is a very great idea, and I think this will actually push the film industry to the next level, actually in Mombasa. What I can say is that when it comes to particular policy, I've gone to the section G, where it's talking about the fees. And I've compared that with last year's Mombasa County Finance Bill. And I've seen there are some costs which are there targeting film production, maybe crews or maybe teams. And some of those fees, I don't know who actually recommended for those particular fees to be in that particular document, because there has to be a certain level of public participation when it comes to ensuring that each and every sector within the county is actually involved. So, for example, one of these particular fees on the education sectors of the Mombasa County, where you see that they are saying if you want to film in a public school, you have to pay 45,000 Kenya shillings per day. So I don't know what you're feeling. I don't know how they come up with that figure. I don't know how the stakeholders are actually involved in that. Another thing is if you want to film around Mombasa and it's actually historical sites, you're supposed to pay 7,500 shillings per day. You know, if you want to do some photography, you have to pay probably 1,500 per hour. I'm not sure about that. So I think this policy should actually start addressing those issues, especially issues of payment, because also some of the bills probably fees which actually within the policy, but I don't know how the commission or maybe these other stakeholders are coming up with those films, and what standards are those fees actually pegged on. So I think this policy, should we as citizens or we as a film community and who we are here, we should actually ensure that tuna participate, because this policy gives us the power to participate in county development, in county processes And because this policy is going to go to county government, they are going to approve some of those things. So we have to follow through. We have to monitor each and everything when you are going to actually participate in this particular aspect. So we have to ensure that we follow through with this document. I'd like to this particular time. Exactly. Thank you so much.
Sorry, question to you. So just we're writing down your recommendation. I hope kila mtu anaelewa. Whatever you're saying is being written down, which will be added to the policy. So you are saying the license, the 45,000, the 7,000, which is pre-existing now. The policy is saying, why don't we put all this license in one? If I pay 1,000, I think the policy is recommending, if I pay 1,000, it stands for every single thing. So are you agreeing with that, or are you sharing another idea?
Okay, for me, I think if we say we are going to pay 1,000, probably
just an example.
Just an example, exactly. Yes. I think even the government itself won't allow that policy to pass before the parliament itself.
That's why we're doing public participation. So what's your recommendation?
So my recommendation is that if you, for example, if it's about filming specifically in specific places, the rest can be done. Probably we can scrap the filming within Mombasa account, because already you are showcasing Mombasa for free. We don't need you don't need a fee for you to do that. Yeah, you don't. So we can scrap it off. Probably what you can levy those other charges to other services. For example, if it's a film crew coming from outside Kenya, then you can actually tax them, and you can actually do that. You know
how much?
Exactly.
How much are we speaking?
Yeah.
So how much would you say you'd recommend to be charged for people coming from
for the local industry,
from outside?
for the outsiders, I don't know, $1 million probably a month. Yeah, they have money, they're here. So they can, that's a source of revenue also at the same time.
So if they're paying $1 million,
yes,
they're also coming with their own team. You want them to also hire people from Mombasa?
If they are paying $1 million, probably that will actually offset some of the costs within the fraternity. For example, they can pay $1 million, and that $1 million can be co-shared within the county itself. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's just an example.
Yes,
yes. I know it passed to be $1 million, but I'm just an example. Exactly.
That's why we are saying
yes,
it's recommendation.
Yes, it's
someone
a recommendation.
Else will say
exactly.
Another figure. So
yes,
let us move to the next person, Mr. Flo. Mr. Flo.
We'll talk about it, Mr. Cole.
Next person. Also be aware of time, please. With the one with the mic.
Wakubwa shikamoo, wadogo mambo.
Please go ahead. Sorry, we're just making sure everyone has nini.
Jina langu ni Omar Kipulanga. Mimi ni mwanafilamu. Si mkongwe lakini pia si mchanga hivyo. Mawili. Kwanza, nimetizama ni wazo zuri sana la kuja na draft film policy, rasimu ya kanuni za filamu. Lakini mwisho wetu wa huu mchakato tunategemea hizi kanuni zigeuke ziwe mswada, pelekwe bungeni, sio? Alafu ziwe sheria, an act. Katika jopo kazi lenu nimelipenda. Kuna wanasheria wamewakilishwa, kuna wasomi, kuna washikadau wa filamu. Lakini kuna swali moja muhimu, serikali iko wapi? Na nafikiri tukizungumzia kanuni au sheria, hatuna budi kujumuisha serikali ndani kabisa. Serikali ni kina nani? Kwanza ni county government. Na serikali ina mihimili mitatu, arms of government. Lakini hapa mihimili miwili inatuhusu sana. Mhimili wa kwanza ni executive. Katika executive ya county government wana idara ambayo inashughulika na masuala haya. Wako wapi mwakilishi wao?
Do you want me to respond?
Kwanza sijamaliza. Mhimili wa pili ni assembly. Kama sisi tunatarajia mwishowe itakuwa ni mswada alafu itakuwa sheria, tunatarajia kuanzia mwanzo wa mchakato huu tuwe na wawakilishi wa bunge na wawakilishi wa idara ya county ili wafupishe safari yetu. haina haja tufanye sisi kisha tupeleke kwao waanze tena upya. Lau tukiwahusisha mapema itakuwa rahisi. Tatu, katika upande wa serikali ni kina Bwana John. Halmashauri yao ya filamu, Kenya Film Commission, sitarajii wakae pale kama mashabiki. Awe hapo katika meza kuu, atuambie yale mambo ambao wataweza kutufanyia. Si yeye tu, kuna bodi ya kukagua filamu KFCB, wako wapi? Si hao tu, kuna bodi ya hakimiliki nchini, Kenya Copyright Board, wako wapi? Wakae hapo, watueleze wao kama serikali ni washikadau muhimu sana katika safari hii kwa ajili inahusisha sheria. Pili, hoja yangu ya mwisho namaliza. Lilian nafikiri amezungumza mambo mazuri sana. Akatuambia kuhusu safari ya filamu, safari ya hii industry katika Kenya, akatupeleka 1974. Mimi nataka kuwarudisha nyuma zaidi. Filamu imeanza kitambo zaidi ya hapo. Na kweli hii ni changamoto kubwa sana. Kuanzia kamera ivumbuliwe haikuchukua hata miaka 10. Kamera ilitua hapa Kenya mwaka 1910, 1910, alipokuja rais wa Marekani kukatengezwa documentary Theo in Africa. Kuanzia 1910 mpaka sasa 2022, hiyo ni miaka 112. Washikadau, nyinyi na sisi, hii lawama si yenu pekee. Tuibebeni pamoja. Kwa katika miaka 112 tumelala. Sasa ni wakati wa kuamka, basi tuamke kwa kasi. Vipi? Swala la mwisho ni Profesa Lutsili alilosema. Nataka kumalizia hapo. Kuwa talent minus knowledge is equal to frustration. Hapo kuna mambo matatu muhimu yametajwa. Talent, vipaji; knowledge, maarifa; frustration, uchanganyikiwa. Kwa bahati mbaya au nzuri, katika hayo matatu, mawili tunayo sana hapa Mombasa. Lipi? La vipaji. Na lingine uchanganyikiwa. Ambalo hatuna ni moja, knowledge. Haya maarifa ni maarifa gani? Yote yamezungumzwa. Mumezungumza lugha nzuri sana. Profesa, Bwana John na wengine kina Sani, Hafsa, Bwana Isagana wamechangia mambo mazuri. Lakini kuyajumlisha katika muhtasari, haya maarifa ni lile brand inayozungumziwa. Vipi vijana wenzangu tutajenga brand? Vipi tutajua maarifa ya kuandika proposal, ya kupata grant? Vipi tutajua maarifa ya kufanya utafiti? Kazi nzuri zinatafitiwa, watu wanafanya research. Vipi ndugu John alivyosema kuwa hii ni biashara, si passion tu, lakini inategemea vile una approach. Tunazotaka kuzijua ni hizo siri za kuapproach, maarifa ya kugeuza hii passion yetu kuwa biashara. Hizo ndo siri. Mwisho kabisa katika hii policy, kwa mtu ambaye ametizama miswada kweli na mwisho nyingi, samani ya mwisho hii kabisa, aliyetizama miswada na sheria, ukitizama muundo wa hii rasimu mliotuletea, bado inahitaji kupigwa msasa. Ndio maana nasema walete wa kusudiwa. Serikali walete watu ambao wanashughulikia masuala ya miswada, masuala ya kanuni, kama ni draftsmen au draft persons, ili tuweze kujenga muundo ambao tukiupeleka sehemu unakubaliwa mara moja. Kivipi? Katika kanuni sitegemei kuona challenges and gaps. Kweli hizi ni vitu ambavyo vitajenga vigezo.
Can I interrupt you there?
Namaliza.
Naahidi
namaliza.
Tafadhali.
Ni vigezo ambavyo vinajenga ile kanuni. Katika cost naona mumeweka zile cost ambazo ziko tayari. Je, mapendekezo yetu ni yapi? Mapendekezo ni kama haya wanaowasema vijana, aliyosema Bwana Mahmud Nur kabla kuondoka, kwa katika policy yetu tunaotaka hili liondolewe, hili liwekwe, hili lifanye hivi, na hiyo ndio itakuwa sheria ambayo itaongoza serikali na wanafilamu wote wa Mombasa. Shukran kwa hayo.
Let me respond to you. Maybe you came in a bit when we had finished. It is still a draft. Please. Haijapitishwa, tafadhali. We are the first group that is seeing it. Sindio? tume have 4 convening since December. Mmesema hizi ndo challenges, tukaandika. Tukaita the legal team, tukasema tell us all the acts that affect filmmakers. Ameziandika kwa hiyo policy. So leo tunakuja, tumerudi, tunasema haya, mlisema hii ni challenges, ukweli uongo. Before tufanye edit, mseme hatukuwa iona draft, hatukuwa iona ikiwekwa. That is why we are here. I think when it comes to public participation, venye Lilian alisema, there are different stages. But you see, this is the first time we are doing a policy for Mombasa. All this time, there's never been one. Why is that the reason? It's because it has never come from us. So for the first time, it is coming from us. So we will be engaging the county government. Venye tu we are engaging sisi. We will say, tumeongea na filmmakers, wameongeza 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The challenges that you are seeing are because of records. You cannot produce a policy without saying how did you map out the challenges. So, tafadhali, as we're going to the next person, kama haujasoma policy, it is okay. Give it time. But we are saying, kama kuna kitu kwa policy, unataka iongezwe, sema, we are not going to sit down sisi wenyewe tutoe. Nyinyi ndo mnasema saa hii, nini iendelee, nini itolewe. So, please, to own your process kabisa. Hata saa hii ukisema unataka kila mtu ape 10,000. Tutaandika hiyo ni part of recommendation. Si ndio? Ule anataka gari. It's part of recommendation, but it has to make sense. Kwa nini tunasema? Because it will not be, I have said, it will be filmmakers who are running in the space when you wanafanya documentary ndo wame recommend. So, as you're asking your questions, sema in regards to the policy. Tuseme challenges sawa, but pia tutoe solutions.
Okay.
Next.
I have a question, just one.
Sorry?
I'm
we have 15 minutes
all
to
right.
go.
Just one question. I'm Patrick. Now, I got information on WhatsApp that there is a meeting at LTC on policy on filmmaking. I just came in. I don't know what the policy is all about. I had no time to go through it, so there's nothing to comment about because I've not read the document itself. But my question is, I wanted to ask our legal lady how this policy, if passed into law, is going to be different from the existing film laws that are in existence, because we have some film laws that are in existence. So what is this going to be to make different from the existing film laws that we have here already?
Santi?
So, policy ni ya Mombasa specific. We have national laws that zina cover other, the whole country. Lakini hii ni specific to Mombasa. So tutasema, kama tuseme fees zimekuwa scrapped. So tuseme unalipa maybe 1,000 to film wherever you are. That is localized to Mombasa. So uwezi enda Lamu useme, hata hapa Lamu nataka kufilm na 1,000. Umeshika? But there is no national law inasema ati filmmakers can only pay this amount of fees. Right? We are because sasa kuna county government, right? So kila kitu inaanza kuwa devolved. So now we can't depend on the national parliament in Nairobi to determine what should happen in Mombasa for filmmakers. So the difference will be, in Mombasa, this is how filmmakers are taken care of by the law. Sawa, hivyo ndio sheria sasa itasema, sheria inasema ukiwa Mombasa filmmaker, hii na hii iko benefit kwako. Sawa? So hiyo ndio tofauti.
Well, asanteni. My name is Collins Mangicho. Mimi natoka Jambo News Network. I'm a journalist. And question yangu ni kwamba kuangalia hapo kwa draft Mombasa draft policy, nimeona hakuna mambo na in terms of marketing. Marketing kivipi? Can the county the Department of Sports, Culture and Art market our own films in Mombasa County? Can they market that? Because we need to see like they need to put promotions in their own katika hizo platforms zao kwamba feeling so and so, so and so, and in that way we are able to promote our local films. Kitu nyingine is that we people tunafanya traveling theater, all we do theater. Wasanii wa onyesho la jukwaa wameachwa nje kwa sababu the policy does not embrace theater completely. So I fail to understand that does it mean that theater is not part of film? Because through theater we can have live performance which can later be recorded, and by the end you can have, they can able to educate and also sensitize. So I would like, or I would request that at least we embrace theater kwa sababu the policy haijaleta zile mpangilio ya kwamba wataweza kuiboresha onyesho la jukwaa. Tunazungumzia kuhusu filamu tutafanya hivi, hii nyingine tutafanya hivi, lakini sasa yale makavazi, yale ngome ama yale maeneo ambayo tayari yana embrace theater kama hapa Litu Theater Club, hakuna yale mipangilio ambayo the policy tunaweza fanya ama kitu kama ili kuhakikisha kwamba tumeweza kusonga mbele. Thank you.
Asante.
Habari zenu nyote. Asanteni sana. Naitwa Rashid Hunt. Naonelea sisi kama wasanii lazima tujitume. Uwe waweza kuonyesha yule mtu ambaye wampa proposal uko na nini cha kuonyesha. Kwa mfano kama mimi shida kubwa ambayo nimeona ni katika marketing and distribution kama vile Collins alivyosema. So I came up with an annual event kila mwaka naifanya, for the third time I'm doing it on Saturday, Jim Cinema. Hiyo ni yangu mimi mwenyewe, sina sponsor, sina mtu. I take films from local people. Shout out to Eastmont Mwenda, unipeanga films hivyo. It's a juice media na wasio wanakuja na perform. Ni wewe kama msanii utanisupport vipi? Mimi kama mwenzako. Wewe kama uloka uko mbele wajopo kazi utanisupport vipi? Wewe kama Kenya Film Commission, alhamdulillah nashukuru niliongea na Mr. Timothy Owase, but it was last year, it was late. This year imekuwa haraka, so I've not brought them on board. But then ningehitaji mimi kusapotiwa ambaye nimejituma, mtanisaidia vipi? Asanteni.
Alwi, we will finish with Mr. John Mwisho and Flo. So the rest of the questions we'll wrap it with John and Mr. Flo.
Good afternoon. Kwa majina naitwa Dan Kinyanjui, almaarufu Dan Sonko. Mimi ni msanii. Siwezi sema mimi ni actor ama producer ama director. Tumefanya kila kitu, lakini nilianza hapa kwa hii jukwaa ya LTC. First and foremost, I'd like to say thank you for this opportunity for the public participation. Ukweli wa mambo ni, this is not the first time we are having such a platform. And I'm sorry to say, for the future, and Daisy, I'm glad that you've mentioned that there'll be subsequent ones. The way you start something will determine how you finish. Hapa wengi wameona hii policy leo ama jana, so they cannot effectively participate in something they've not had time to go through. Okay? So that already is a loss of the time that has been taken here. I appreciate the time that has been taken. You said that you have a 22-member team. Thank you so much. I've gone through it. I was lucky enough to get it before today. But my weight is on any other person who came here and they're aloof. Timekeeping, those are things that we'll talk about because it's now 1 o'clock. For someone who's really a professional, they would have walked out ages ago. But nonetheless, there's a reason we are here. For me, it's 4 things. First thing is passion. I have a passion for art. Second thing is purpose. Those 2 things zimetuleta wengi hapa. Passion and purpose. The third thing is paper, policy. what frameworks are there, which is what you guys have drafted. There are so many other drafts out there that have not seen the light of day. It is my prayer we can push this through. But that brings me to my fourth thing. People. Who are the people who are going to be put into account to push this thing? Because, kama ilivyotajwa hapa, there are some key people or key stakeholders who are not representative of this session, which is okay. But now my input into the policy is we need to have people take ownership. Because without accountability, without transparency, hakuna mali tunaenda. We can be talking of funding here. We can be talking about the challenges. I loved Chalo. Chalo said it's not only about the passion projects, and he emphasized on money. But I'll emphasize on something else. You can miss having the money, but if you have the right impact, if you know the message that you're sending across, it will bring in the money. Okay? But kuna watu hapa kumesemekana knowledge. Kuna talent, kuna knowledge. There are those who have the talent, there are those who don't have the knowledge. But you have people who can be able to bring this thing together. This is a seed that we are planting. Some of us will not eat from that tree that we are planting today. But do we have the heart to push through? So my challenge to your team and whoever is drafting this, make sure you have the people who can drive this through. People we can go to. Isiwe ni kama serikali. Serikali ni nani? Kuna mtu. And when there is that person, ni mtu anafaa kuwa amejituma. Because most of the time tunaingia, kila mtu amebeba shida zake hapa. Separate personal problems with what it is that you want to achieve. Personally and as a community. La sivyo, we will go back to the same thing. Tangu 1974, Isa akianza, to 7 years ago, Sony akifanya. Mimi na Sony tumeanza around the same time. We'll go through the same problem. When my son comes here at my age, bado atakuwa na formulate policies. So it won't help. Let's get the right people, push them, get accountability. That is the only way we'll be able to implement some of these things. Otherwise, we'll be politicizing things and not go anywhere. Ni hayo.
Hello, I'm back. I think the panel is a great panel. You've given us great opportunities. I must agree with the gentleman here that it is a shame, or not to shame you, but it's a pity rather that the document had not been shared before. I would have loved to go through it. But as I'm listening to you, getting a hint of what you try to say, I have a few things that I'd like to mention. Maybe it's already in the document, or maybe you can take benefit from it. But first, allow me to respond to the gentleman there that was suggesting that foreign crews were having to pay $1 million. I understand your issue, because I am fat. But the European film industry is not suffering like yours, but we are also struggling for every euro to come and make. In fact, the art film that we're talking about here is not making money, it's being subsidized. So, but your comment gave me the idea of actually turning this whole thing around. Why don't you recommend in your piece that foreign crews that come to Mombasa area actually get a bonus, a benefit, no fees, maybe a VIP treatment, a location scout, a guide, the things that relatively cost little money, but will now make European film crews come to Mombasa rather than to Zanzibar or to Gabon, where there's beautiful beaches also. So instead of taxing them with $1 million or whatever amount, how do you call it? Stimulate them to come. Make the film industry in Kenya more international by being very open and inviting. So that is my response. Then I had a few other mentions. First of all, I've been in Kenya a long time. Actually, when Mr. Ghana was starting his work, that's when I made my first steps here in Kenya in 1974. Been around in the film industry a little bit also, and especially filmmakers from from there where the stories are, where my heart is, the low income areas, if you want, where the people are, the people's stories. I loved your idea about coast cooking. It's documentary worth. But the problem with many Kenyan filmmakers is you like to run with your camera and start shooting without what Sonny has says, preparation. You need to prepare, you do your research. So then again, coming to my recommendation to the board here or to the panel here, would it be a good idea to work together with the Kenyan Film Commission or other subsidiary institutions to actually have a research budget hidden somewhere so people can actually do their research for a couple of months, actually pay for their Wi-Fi, write a proper report, travel to Watamu to speak to the local fisher people there, so they can actually do their research and then start writing a film plan that we'll need to be talking on. My last point, please, distribution. This young hero there, where are you, Rashid? He's doing a great thing in Bamburi Gym Sala. He's actually creating a platform. Now, I don't know if there's much about platforms and distributions, but people are willing to pay 200 to 300 to 1,000 bob to sit in the Gym Sala arena. That might be a local thing because this guy is really passionate. But if you make a film, you want an audience, and you need the audience to at least contribute something. So maybe I'm totally out of place here because yes, indeed, I did not read the proposal. But just keeping it a recommendation, not as a question, could you please have some attention for one, film literacy, get Kenyan people to come to actually watch film, and pay Kita Kidogo just 100, 200 bob. So actually some money for guys creating platforms is coming in. That is my recommendation. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
I think you did great.
Thank you. Just to respond to the question before, we are meeting with the county. They were to be on the panel, and I know the panelists do understand that. But they chose to have a different conversation where they're not influencing whatever anyone is saying here, right? We want to hear genuinely how the policy affects. Then we will have another conversation tomorrow with a different group, right? They will share their recommendations. And on Saturday, we have another group of directors who are not able to come. We'll do the same thing. I think I agree with you in terms of the draft itself. The draft is now going to be online. If you wake up and you remember something, send us recommendation. So we are not, like I said, this is not the first time. And remember, the county itself will do its own public participation without us being present, so that we do not influence or rather speak on behalf of anyone. So, like I said, it's just that we have started with everyone on the room. We will move to producers on Saturday. We will still meet the county and the director culture to review, give feedback. So it's all rounded. So when you say about people championing it, the reason why we are even seated here, all the 22 members were not able to sit here. It is because all the 22 members volunteered to put their time for the last 8 months to do it. So I'm pretty sure we cannot come all the way 8 months and then finally have the document and then decide not to champion it to the county unless something happens, right? So I am really sorry, we cannot go past 2 p.m. It is 1:50 on my time. Let us have John. John, I know a lot of questions have been addressed to you. And even next time when we have our public participation, I know there will be questions addressed to you. So I'll give you a chance to do that. And then we will wrap up, tafadhali, this participation. We can't do past 2 p.m., unfortunately.
Thank you for that. I've been taking notes. And just to start with, I apologize if I made anyone feel bad about I apologize if I felt I said something that made anyone feel bad or inferior about it. What I was saying is just explaining how this industry has a big potential. So, being in the office or someone who has a big company in Mombasa that makes a lot of money shouldn't make anyone feel they are disadvantaged. It's just an opportunity. And what I would say is try to fit into, make your, try, yeah, so I'm saying try as much as possible to do your projects and make them a business so that you can also try to make a living out of filmmaking. It has nothing to do with anyone in office or whether they are paid or whether they make money through good business or that. Anyway, towards the policy, I think it's a good policy as a start. And I know the draft film policy, which is national, is still in Parliament for adoption and for debate. And as a commission, we are trying to push counties to come with their independent film policies. Why? Because in as much as a commission, we are supposed to market Kenya internationally and locally, at county level, it's the counties to advocate and push for content to be produced within counties. And it's upon counties and film associations within counties that are going to attract more business within the counties. So it's about it's about how good they make their policies, so that people will opt to shoot in Mombasa, this specific county, for it to sell to filmmakers. Remember, if a filmmaker comes from Kisumu and they want to make a film about the coast, they will look at which county has a friendly environment for filmmaking. And whenever they come with their 4 million, their 3 million, their 300,000, that money is going to be spent here, they're going to get crew here, they're going to get cast here. So it's upon the policy that we draft to attract more people, and that is what we call film promotion. So promotion is a big thing that in the policy needs to be captured. And I'll pick from what one of the gentlemen said. Maybe your 22 member team needs to expand a little to put some of the national government organizations like Kenya Film Commission, Kenya Film Classification Board, to just bring ideas and insights or lessons that we've learned from other counties, from other countries. The other day we had a meeting with Netflix, and we have a partnership with them. I was privileged to be part of that meeting, and they are looking into engaging in capacity building, especially on the area of film finance, what I was talking about, film finance, and we'll have master classes and trainings across the country about film finance. We also have another partnership with the German government, again, GIZ, which they are looking more into distribution. How do you get money for your projects? And that will benefit everyone across the country. I know it's a national commission and everyone is looking at the commission, but it depends with how you strategize and how you position yourself as an industry, because this Pwani will become an industry if you want it to be. It's how you package your policy. Just the same way we keep on saying many people are going to shoot in South Africa. It's the same way we can say many people will opt to shoot in Mombasa and not any other county. And whenever film business comes to Mombasa, it benefits everyone. So that is number one. Membership. I saw in the policy there is a proposal to have a film promotion. Is it a film promotion board? And part of the membership of the board is the county government and other associations. I would advocate, as a body that deals with film promotion, both here and outside there, that we have a membership in it, so that we can It's a proposal. It's something you need to look at it in the structure of it. See how, as a commission, we can come in and help the Pwani film industry to work. So that is number one. Number two, when it comes to the education, which is the academy, you might want to borrow from what the Kenya Film School is doing. I know we want to register, to put it and have it recognized internationally, but we have to start somewhere. The Film Academy, because I'm hoping it's going to focus on talent, absorption or admission on talent, and not academics. Because we have a lot of people who are qualified, who are not qualified, but they are passionate and they have the talents. So if we focus on that aspect of admitting people through their talent and not their qualification, then that is going to help us and going to help the academy. All the same, I think it's a good policy. It's a good start as we continue engaging. I'm hoping, like I said, I'm here to represent the CEO. The CEO is very passionate about growing all the film industry, whether it's being championed by the county governments, whether it's being championed by lobby groups. But we are very passionate as a commission to be part of any policy that relates to film within the country. So we would be glad. Msijali, we are in Nairobi, yes, but whenever you call on us, we'll always be there to support in the development of the policy itself and in the implementation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chow. I think we'll have one last person there. Sorry, I've not been able to see. Yes. And then we do wrap up here.
Hello. Hamjambo.
Hello.
Jina langu ni Teddy. Mimi ni deaf. Na nimefurahi lakini niko na concern moja kuhusu film making. Kwanza nawashukuru kwa kazi nzuri ambayo mmefanya, ni mara ya kwanza mmetu involve sisi. Lakini I'm worried about deaf community kwa sababu kwa film making hatuhusishwi. Kwa nini? Hakuna interpreters kwa film zenye mnaweka. Sasa hata sisi tunaangalia tu, hatuelewi nini kinaendelea. Saa nyingine tunacheka kitu ambacho hata si ya kucheka. Kwa sababu gani? Ni ngumu sisi kusikia, hatusikii. Ni macho tu ndio tunatumia. Ya pili, sasa nasikia about Kenya Film Commission. Sasa mmetuhusisha vipi? Mmeita maybe mikutano mkatuhusisha sisi tukajua ni kazi gani ambayo mnafanya ili tuweze kujua ni vipi. Najua ni mambo mengi ambayo mnashughulikia, lakini ni vizuri sisi wote tuweze kubenefit kama community. Asante.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we're so grateful to have, we're really grateful that you accepted our invite. And I think it's an area that people oversee when it comes to film. And that's why you're here, to recommend some of the policies, right? And like I said, this is not the end. We will invite more and more people. Filmmaking is not about one side of Mombasa. There are a lot of amazing filmmakers there. So on this policy, as you would have on any other recommendation. Asanteni sana, the team from DAI. Yes, thank you so much. I would like to wrap up here. Najua mlikunywa chai. That's why everyone is okay. So I want to say thank you so much. I know we still have questions. This is, we are, I think, 2 hours after our time. They're supposed to end. So tafadhali allow me to end it here. We will still share another convening. Tutakuwa either Swahili pot ama we'll go to Likoni or Mwakirunge. Yes. So it's not the first time we're doing this, but we hear your feedback, especially sharing the policy. Go to GON Instagram, the link will be there. If you've signed in and we have your email, we will send it to you. We'll send it to your WhatsApp. Please feel free to send feedback. So I want to hand it over to our host today, Bashir, to also just conclude, and then we will meet next time. Asanteni sana. Mniklapie, hata kama you're mad at me. Just clap for me. Asanteni sana.
No, Daisy, I don't think anyone is mad at you. Wamekufurakia, si ndio? Tumpeni makofi mingine basi ya nguvu. Thank you so much. Mine is to thank the organizers of this public participation. Tunashukuru sana, and we feel honored as Little Theatre Club that this has been brought here. Nafikiri it has been brought here for a purpose, that people also come in and learn about Little Theatre Club. Kwa Little Theatre Club kuna members, naomba tu ni wale members wa Little Theatre Club, please simameni. Karo, please mama Magichu. If you know you are a member of Little Theatre Club, tafadhali simama. Unaona vile mko wachache? Sawa sawa. Ketini. Ombi langu ni kwamba kuna wasanii wengi ambao hatuko nao hapa kama members. Member katika Little Theatre Club ni rahisi. Njoo, let us talk. You need only 2 registered members here to guarantee you to become a member. Then there is just a small fee, which I'm very sure you will be able to pay at every end of year. Because there are so many facilities here, there are so many opportunities here. This is a place for you to be. Another thing is, na members hapa wataniambia kama ni sawa au si sawa, we are going to convene our own small meetings. Bwana Gana yuko hapa, CFA, ili kwa sababu people came here but hawajapitia hii draft. Nendeni mupitie, then we'll talk to Mr. Gana na members hapa. We have our own sittings tupitie as a group. Hii kitu ukipitia peke yako si sawa sawa na mukipitia kama group. Mukizungumza, mukibadilishana mawazo. Ili, because this policy is going to affect you for the next how many years ikiwa itakuwa implemented. So if you are going to shy away from it now, you will regret for the rest of your life. So it's so important that you very much get involved now than later. Nafikiri hapo tumekubaliana. Tutakaa chini na members, we are going to communicate that later on. Nafikiri nimeeleza mengi na nashukuru committee tena. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bashir. Happy kurudi with the committee again and have the policy review. Asanteni sana. Hand it over back to the DJ. Please feel free to still network, talk to whoever you wanted to talk to. We're really grateful. Asanteni sana.